The fucking
Very
SJW
eloquently stated,
juggernaut.
Matt, appreciate it.
The right
now,
hand of the
Flamingo,
bearded
do you
man.
know who this guy is? I saw his channel. I pulled it up a couple weeks ago.
With the
yeah,
hostile
like I said, I
audience.
brought it up.
Mouse, you're on the Raffle Tour.
Just
How's it going, man?
essentially,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty great, actually. How about you?
Flamenco, I'm doing good. Flamenco says you're a communist.
I'm an anarchist, but they're pretty close. We don't need to split hairs.
Oh God, it's retarded.
I got some friends who would get real triggered over me saying that, but yeah, they follow similar ideological trends.
Now, what do you do on YouTube? What kind of videos do you make and stuff?
Well, most of the time, I'm just browsing my feed, finding recent videos being put out by reactionaries. You've got, obviously, your Ben Shapiro, your Steven Crowder, your Hunter Avallone, your John Doyle's up and coming. Keep an eye out on that kid. And I watch the videos, and generally the arguments that are put together in there are really, really stupid. So I have fun, live format. I don't really do any preparatory stuff, and the channel's been growing pretty quickly.
Well, that sounds like you're doing pretty well. I think I saw you, what was it, like 10, 11,000, something like that? I can't remember what it was. I looked it up last week.
Yeah, it's up to 20K now.
Wow. Has it grown that in the last 2 weeks, or was I just that far off with my
I think it would have been about 3 weeks since I was that size. But yeah, I feel like there's a real deficiency of my kind of rhetoric on the left.
Drelgon in the chat says you're the fat Destiny. How would you accept or reject that?
Well, I've been a big fan of Destiny's for years, actually, but I think he's reached sort of the pinnacle of where you can go without being a lefty. And yes, I do weigh more than him. He is much smaller than me in every dimension.
So when you say you're a big fan, that's quite literal.
Well, like
in every sense.
Like I said before, though, too, you also kind of ape his bit.
Wait, so is communism your weight loss program?
I would say that I don't really ape his bit. I would say that his rhetoric is something the left has really been missing out on, because the left is more interested in orthodox politics and like political correctness than they are in really effective on the ground advocacy. It's a problem that I have. I've alienated myself from quite a few orthodox lefty figures.
Fair enough then.
All right, so what did you want to talk about tonight?
Oh, well. Oh, there's so... Actually, you know what? I came here for a very specific reason, okay? Now, I've been told...
By the way, first off, wait. First off, how did you hear about the show?
Well, from watching Destiny come on. I've only been a YouTuber for like 4 months now, but he first came on the KILLSTREAM, I want to say like 8 months ago. So that was when I first saw. And of course, he came on fairly recently, right? With Soap and with Nicholas Fuentes.
10 minutes ago, yeah.
Ah, well, I hope she's doing well. There's actually a very specific reason I came here. I feel like, so I've been told a lot of things about this podcast or stream, however you prefer to call it, however you identify, one might say. And
And we've got 72 genders of podcast over here.
Great. I'm glad. I love diversity. Now I've heard that, I've heard some nasty things about the folks.
You just don't want to live too close to it, right?
I mean, I lived in like South LA for a while. I don't know. I feel like I'm coming out of the. I'm from the streets.
You'd love diversity if you did.
No wait. What were you saying? You said you were saying something. What were you saying?
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot of people who engage with your content who have, I think, a little bit of a warped perspective of how leftists are and how they act and what they believe. And I was hoping a lot of my fans want me to get all screamy, but I'm not here for that today. I was hoping to have a nice, pleasant convo. We can talk. You know what? Political violence was the topic Flamenco originally brought to me when we considered going on the KILLSTREAM, and that seems to be a pretty hot one.
Well, what do you think about political violence? Are you in favor of it?
Broadly speaking, yes. Or I think it is a tool in a toolbox. I think that people are often more justified to engage in it than most people would comfortably admit.
So you're in favor, so who has the right to use political violence at this point in time in the United States?
I think that a person can or has the moral right to use political violence if that is the most efficacious way of them achieving a just goal, and B, if there is a sort of a superstructure which can be attacked that ostracizes them from sort of egalitarian society. So I would say, for example, racial minorities, gender minorities, for example, trans people, intersex people. I think that these people.
I figured you were
valid.
going to go here. That's why I asked you. with groups.
Only if it's like, by the way, efficacious. I don't think that running around killing a bunch of white folk is going to do any good for anybody. So I wouldn't justify that.
Yeah, especially seeing as you're so bad at it.
Me personally, I've never killed a white folk, so I guess I am pretty bad at it.
Have you killed other kinds of people?
No, just little pieces of paper at a target range.
All right. So you are a proud gun owner.
Actually, up until recently, I was very poor up until recently. I couldn't afford one. But the few times that I've had the pocket change to go to a range, I enjoyed it very much. I'll probably pick up firearms sometime soon. Yeah.
So you're in favor of robust gun ownership?
100%. Very, very, very much pro gun.
All right, let's take a caller. Throw out the link, Flamenco. We'll take some more.
All right.
Demon John, you're on the air on the Raffertory. Go ahead. You're on with Vouch, by the way.
How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. How you doing?
Doing great. There's something I want to talk about in terms of communism and trans rights. Vouch, do you support trans rights?
100%.
100%? Cool. So what's your opinion on transgender teachers teaching kids about transgenderism?
I have nothing against it. I mean, no more than I would a cisgender a teacher teaching about transgender issues.
Why don't parents teach their kids about that sort of thing?
They can, and they should.
Why aren't we allowed to then?
You can. The government's not stopping you from teaching your kids about anything. They're just including it in the curriculum for the public school.
Right on.
Oh, no, I totally think you should be able to teach your kids about these issues on your own, but I think that public schooling is necessary. A lot of folks have the wrong idea when it comes to trans issues. Might want to clear some of those misconceptions up.
Like,
I love Liverpool. Let's go.
Like what wrong idea?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Well, which wrong ideas are you talking about?
Well, there are a lot of people who are very anti-science in this regard, which upsets me because I consider myself to be, a big fan of science. Like for instance,
fucking love science.
Nice.
Yeah,
hey,
science is great.
Yeah, comrades, me too. There are a lot of people who believe really weird, unscientific stuff, like gender and sex are
like
the same
communism.
thing. Like womanism.
Womanism isn't a
Just
thing.
go ahead. Just keep talking. Ren.
There are, for instance, like sex and gender being the same thing. This is, and not only is this scientifically incorrect, it's etymologically incorrect. Gender was distinguished as a term to,
That's a societal concept.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, absolutely. And there are a lot of people who believe that, like, chromosomes, for example, are a way of determining one's gender. I don't even believe they're a way of determining one's sex, really, which is also of a scientific consensus in these days. But
you do wait,
Mm-hmm.
but isn't certain chromosomes determined towards children's sex?
yeah, there's a very high association. But there are instances of people who are, like, in every respect, a man,
Right.
having
Genetic mutations though aren't the mean. You just said you like science. You should.
I
probably know
love
that.
science. A lot of people have an unscientific approach. By the way, chromosomes
Chromosomes
Hey,
don't
you know
determine.
what's well, I know, no, this is great
95%
though.
Of the time.
This is great, yeah, exactly. But that's the problem with a binary, conceptually. In a binary, there are two things, not two things, but then actually there are a bunch of exceptions that we don't want to talk about. In reality,
think
sex
not-
is
That's
bimodal.
the problem with reality is it talks about what is, not what I'd like it to be.
Right, I agree completely. I don't know why you would admit that you have a problem with scientific consensus in this regard if you're trying to make fun of me, but this is what the scientists agree on. It's
only
just
giving that a
weird
2
that I
out
have
of
to
10.
argue with people who claim to be fans of science, but then they hear something that doesn't feel right intuitively, and then they laugh uproariously. It's very strange to me.
Yeah, I feel like there's one of those people right here in the Discord.
What's your opinion
Just
on
let it
non-binary
just
people?
let it hang. Nah.
Non-binaries. What's your opinion on them? Are they real?
Well, I mean, if people like if gender is a mode of identification, then believing you are makes it real. There do seem to be a lot of people who have a sincere, authentic desire to ostracize themselves from traditional gender roles without adhering to anyone in particular. And I think that gender is perfectly arbitrary. I'm a gender abolitionist. So yeah, not only would
Did
one.
you just say gender abolitionist?
Yeah,
Wait,
you got
What
it.
the fuck is that?
Wait, hold
Please
on,
tell
hold
me.
on.
I'm curious. I'm curious.
It's pretty.
Yeah, hold
it's
on.
pretty contained
Hold
in
on.
the definition, actually.
I've never heard of. Is this a big movement? I haven't heard of this.
No, not really. And it's not like a movement even. It's just the idea that society would.
It definitely isn't a movement.
Yeah, that society would probably in the long run be better off if we removed arbitrary social groupings because it encourages division. So the idea
It's not
behind
really arbitrary though, is it?
well,
Male,
no.
female?
Well, no. Sex is a pretty meaningful distinction. I would agree with that. But gender, like for instance, what types of clothing people are supposed to wear or how they're supposed to do their hair or talk or act, these things are not only subjective but also subject to changes based on time and society. So
Yeah, but you would understand that the majority of gender identities generally correlate towards person's biological sex, right?
in this society, yes, but there have been societies in the past that have
almost
had.
all societies.
Yeah.
And actually,
No,
I
I
would
agree.
say almost. I would say I would go so far to say that every society, generally, the majority of probably over 90% of people probably fall into that category.
There are probably some esoteric exceptions to that, but broadly speaking, I would agree. I'm not
Can you
advocating
name
we
a
like.
specific example.
No, it's something I'd like to do more research of. But yeah, no, I agree with your point. The problem is though, is that I'm not suggesting we like kill gender or force people to not be gendered or identify as one way or another. This isn't a movement. This isn't a social advocacy group. It's just the idea in maybe 500, 1,000 years, maybe, much in the same way that race will fall to the wayside as we all become beautiful olive-skinned mixed race kids. That we too will see gender sort of fall to the wayside as people's roles in societies aren't as dictated by their sexual characteristics anymore. You know what I mean,
Thank you,
right?
Demon John. Thank you, Demon John, for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, a few super chats. Let's see. Constantine's commentary says, "Ask him what he thinks of Nazballs, Nazi."
I mean, I don't like Nazis. It's mostly a meme, right? People are like, "Hey,
That's all right. Nazis don't like you either. So with this whole, we are all going to turn olive. You understand? That's only going to happen. That's not going to happen voluntarily. That's only going to happen through the force of the state. So you support the state. You support the state action in forcing people to breed.
Yeah, I do remember saying that earlier in this stream when I said.
So
I think the
you're
government
fully
should
on board
force
with the
people to-
Kalergi plan. Then we're going to.
Oh
going to just create.
the Kalergi.
We're just
He's
gonna
got
create
all
this
of the
mixed race of
Nazi
slaves.
propaganda, all the Nazi conspiracy theories stuffed under his cloak.
Well, the Holocaust didn't happen. Hitler was right.
You do know the Kalergi plan was specifically about breeding the warrior gene out of Germans with other Anglo-Europeans, right? It had literally nothing to do with brown people. In fact, Kalergi was not only an European nationalist, but a massive fucking racist. At no point in his writings or anyone's interpretations of those writings did anyone suggest that people of different races should breed. It's a cool little conspiracy theory. I know it sort of feeds into the victim narrative, but no. As time has gone on, the societies in which we live have grown more multicultural, and the inevitable conclusion of this is that more people will be more.
Well,
Some
have.
the people never wanted it. It's always been forced on them. Nobody ever voted.
Wait,
for
wanted what?
multiculturalism.
Wait, wanted what? You're sort of ducking by the words here. Wanted what?
Don't talk to me about ducking and weaving, buddy.
No,
You are
wait,
like,
what?
you
Clarify.
are like Jello. I feel like I try and close my fist on your argument and it slips through my fingers to reform. I feel like if I were to get you to concede a point,
I understand you're having a lot of fun right now, but I think I've actually been extremely
you'd
straightforward with
pretend
what I
that the
believe.
argument had never happened, and you'd return straight back to your arguments.
Okay.
I
So
think,
again,
I think
I'm
gradually-
trying
I
to
think
get a
gradually
point
I would
out of
come
you.
to hate
I'm
you.
trying to. You're like a fat cow. I'm trying to milk the point out of you. So
Don't
again,
talk to me about
what
fat
is being
cows, buddy.
forced? All right.
Real quick.
Yeah,
real
Ethan.
quick,
I don't
though.
think this guy wants to like elaborate.
Real quick,
Alright,
though, you have to also admit, though, that this is only some of this is only happening in certain areas. Too,
Some of what?
In terms of modern societies of progressively more multicultural countries.
Yeah, this is mostly happening in Western society because we have most of the wealth, so we incentivize people to
Well,
migrate.
Western, but
All right,
like
let
you
me-
would say like certain.
Let me take a caller. Hold on, let me.
Okay.
I want to bring in a caller. Let's bring.
Okay.
Okay. Timothy Blunt, you're on the Ralph Retort. Go ahead.
Hey, Ralph.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi. I was just calling in regards with what Sophie's talking about. I know she's on D-Line, but D-Line kicked me off the other day.
Oh well, that sucks.
Yeah,
By the way,
so she better
Is-
watch out.
yeah, this is some kind of voice changer. I think maybe I don't know, but
No?
thank you. Thank you for calling in.
There's some speculation about voice changing in the chat here.
I appreciate it. Oh, the young demographic is always coming through for the Rough Retort.
I don't know if that was a young demographic. I'm 50% on voice changer.
Kiwi, go ahead. You're on the air.
Kiwi?
Hello. Sorry. So, hi, Vosh.
Howdy.
Big fan.
Oh.
First time watching the Killstream. I wanted to ask, ideologically, Vosh, where would you consider the limits of accepting, like, people on the left being? Like, would you accept, like, Marxist-Leninists or more authoritarian leftists?
You sneaky little devil, getting your way on the kill stream. Oh, Christ. In terms of who's comrades, honestly, we've got such a Nazi problem in Western society these days. I'll take pretty much anyone. I'm not really...
Goyim keep resisting. It's a real problem.
As maybe not like hardcore Stalinist like Holodomor revisionists, but I'd rather settle my differences with leftists after we're done with the wave of white nationalism that's sweeping the world.
Once we've seized power, we'll deal with our lesser enemies.
You're having fun over there, and I admire that in the face of adversity.
I don't know, though, dude. It seems as if there's a lot of infighting and purity spiraling.
I know, I totally agree, and I fucking hate it. Oh my god, purity testing leftists trigger me almost as much as you guys do.
I love diversity, and I can't wait until we're just a deracinated brown mass that does exactly what the state, which I
legitimately don't. Did you like write these down in your hand beforehand, and you're desperate to cram them in regardless of what I say beforehand?
Implying I ever do show prep.
Yeah, implying you can just ever stop Rand from shit posting.
No, seriously though, the purity testing the left is really fucking bad. Okay, there are people like
why? Because you don't quite measure up to it.
In many cases that is the case. And there are a lot of people who don't measure up to me. It's a big Al problem. That's the thing, though. Conservatives fall in line when the time comes to mobilize against an aggressor. But leftists don't. We can see this throughout history. Anarchists fighting communists,
we have our own
fighting
ideological
socialists.
purity spiraling almost all the time, dude. I don't
but
know. We generally also try to tell people to not air out our fucking dirty laundry in public. I guess you guys didn't get the memo.
Yeah, no, we can't even agree on that. I do sincerely wish you all were a little bit more divisive. It would make it easier for us to make fun of you, but I respect that. You know what? Unity, coordination, those are characteristics I wish we could adopt.
If we were more divisive, you wouldn't be able to. If we were more divisive, you guys wouldn't be able to steal our bits.
I don't understand the correlation there.
Didn't you literally do an NPC video like 2 days ago?
Yeah, the NPC is a good ass meme. I'll take memes from 4chan any day. That's it. I'm a multiculturalist, buddy. I can pick and choose what I like.
You guys are going to be stealing the Clown World meme too.
I've seen some people try. So you're acknowledging then that Clown World is a right-leaning meme because some people cannot acknowledge that. I know it is, but do you admit that? I mean,
I'd say that any revulsion against modernity is relatively right wing,
for the most part. I just agree because a lot of people
you're not allowed to
on the
acknowledge
right,
the disgust reflex if you're on the left.
Right.
Anything that's ugly, anything that's disgusting, that's embraced by the
there
left.
actually is research suggesting that the disgust reflex is a lot more prominent in conservatives. I don't really have it that much.
All right, hold on one sec. Kiwi, you got anything else, man?
I'd also like to ask, I think I know his opinion on political violence, but I want to hear differing opinions on it.
What, from me or from my contemporaries?
He just said he was in favor of it or supported it.
You'll get no differing opinion from me. As soon as we can, as soon as we can find a car park where both myself and Vash can conveniently meet up.
Whoa! We're talking about going to blows over nothing. Jesus, let some drama build up. Have you ever watched WWE? You don't just go the fuck at it. Wait for one of us to make a joke about the other's partner or something. Come on.
All right, what about? Oh god, never mind. Super chat. Radio Ruin says Fed. The Bone Zone says gender is an unproven theory invented by a pedo. Wasatch Man says this guy is only here to try to make a full narrative of us to run his channel off of. This can't continue. Where's your God now? Says kick this smooth brain commie. Mariner 1712 says fuck this loan shark sounding disingenuous motherfucker. Stop speaking on behalf of anyone. Stop breathing while you're at it. in Mortal Kombat 11.
Ooh, got him. Wait, what have I said that's disingenuous?
I don't know.
I think most of it. I you know, when
Wait,
you
what did I say
introduced
that I don't
yourself,
believe?
I mean, I can't think of anything
Like-
specifically. I'm not saying you.
I'm
did,
actually
but-
pretty honest. I literally did a video on how I think saying the N-word isn't that bad. I'm pretty forward with my beliefs in spite of
Do
what
you
my
say
I'm
that
glad
in
you
Mortal
agree,
Kombat?
nigga.
that I'll admit though, I said when it's funny, and I think you've failed to meet the mark right there. But better luck next time.
I mean, I was
How do you
laughing
feel
a little
about
bit.
the
but-
K word? Because I'm definitely thinking that you're a fucking kike at this point.
Oh, I mean, you got me, dude. My ancestry of German England. Yeah, you got me. What is that?
Oh, German. Oh,
Am I-
German. Oh, I come from a German.
You know what this
family.
reminds me of? That Paul Joseph Watson tweet. The right's getting better at comedy and the left is getting nervous. I gotta say, I'm quaking at your rhetorical mastery right now. You're getting me with these zingers. Are you
Actually
must
think- I
be
actually
some
think I
kind
am,
of
and you're just
Jew.
doing this thing. Well, actually, I do. I'm almost 90% convinced that you're Jewish at this point. But
Okay,
go ahead.
cool. This is all right. You got him. This is really lame. Can we move on?
All right, let me.
Are you shrinking back? Have you been found out?
Listen, trust me. If I was Jewish, I would rep it to make fun of you guys harder. But I'm not, so I can't.
Well, that was the thing. I was going to be like, if you are actually Jewish, you're a pretty low-tier Jew because, you know, they always assign the smooth brains to these sorts of shitty assignments. You know, you're not there in finance. You're not collecting any of the rent. You're just there.
You got
You're just there doing.
You got me,
right
dude.
thing.
I'm a lone wolf Jew on YouTube. Just
There
a
are
lone
no
wolf Jew
lone wolf
making his
Jews.
way downtown, walking fast. I don't get it. This is too bad comedy for me to like engage with. I can't 1-2 man this.
No, you can't talk your way out of it anymore.
You're
Because,
right. You've got me
in the
pinned.
chat there,
You've got me in a
we've
logical
got-
vice, my
we've
dude.
got-
I can't get
we've
out.
got this 100%. We've got this 100% accurate weather vane in chat. It's this poster called First Amendment, and
Mhm.
anything he says, he's like part of that Greek puzzle. The
Bro,
one
you're
who
posting
always,
so much
always
cringe
tells
right
a lie.
now. I can't keep up with
And
this.
he said he's definitely not Jewish. So I've got you. You must be Jewish. First Amendment says you're not.
All right, let me read these super chats. Mariner1712 says, "Stay the fuck back from the mic." That car from that show says you have to bring a hard stance to the table if to walk away with any form of diplomatic victory. Nosballs are the bulwark of Western civilization. Bulwark, whatever. Hiram Wood says this dude is an idiot. The left is unable to predict how the right thinks or behaves. A recent study proved this. Love your Randbot, and I guess Ralph too. Well, thank you.
Oh, but no love for me. I feel slighted.
Irene Lehman
someday.
says Ralph admit you rented a birthday clown to call in. Irene Lehman says I did not do that. Much too.
Why are all these super chats sound like they could have read out with like any guest that came on? Are these like pre-recorded or do
Deep
you
Fried
guys just
Lettuce
not
here's
have
from the
much
stream jar.
flexibility?
Question for guest says, "What kind of leftist are you? The Hillary Clinton is a right winger because she isn't a communist con, or the drone pilots need to be black and transgender con?"
I have a definitely the first one. Fuck drone pilots. I have a fuck if a drone pilot's a trans black disabled woman. Fucking kick him out of that chair.
What's going on there, Herschel? You seem to be very upset to be sitting here live watching a goy receive money while you're not getting any.
Wait, are you speaking to me?
All right, let's
Wait.
let's-
No, I'm genuinely curious. Was that at
just
me?
Wait, let's just take. I don't know. Let's take a caller. I think it was.
You know I was talking
Yeah, I'll
to
take
you.
a
No, I
This is
genuinely
bullshit.
don't
Oh,
understand.
are not-
just take a
You are not being genuine. That
I
is a
don't
straight-up
under.
fucking
I'm
lie.
sorry.
You
Listen,
knew I
my
was
brain is
referring to
too
you,
smooth to
and you're
understand
just
what the
doing that
fuck
thing
you're
where
going
you're
on
like,
about.
"Oh, you're
You're right.
I
You
know
got me,
what
dude.
you're
Me
talking
not knowing
about.
that my name is supposed to be Herschel for
You
your little
fucking
bit.
knew I was talking to you. You are a fucking bullshit artist.
Oh well, the real reason I was confused is because I'm streaming too, and I've made like a lot off super chats already, so I don't understand. Like it's wrong on every level, on every conceivable fringe. You've wronged yourself here.
Yeah, but you're just watching a penny roll across the floor and you can't tear your eyes away from it.
What? Dan, the right is getting better at comedy. Holy fuck!
Oh god.
Nah, Rand is just
Really
shitposting
unfunny.
incarnate.
Shit
All right,
posting
let's-
is usually funny, but no, I'll allow it. It's cool.
All right, let's
Rand
take
is
let's
kinda
take a
funny.
caller. Let's take a caller. Lena, you're on the air on the Ralph Retort. Go ahead.
Hey there. So
Hey, how's it going?
that's going alright. I got a question for the anarchist guys. So
Howdy.
I I know you said that chromosomes don't determine sex, or you don't think they should determine sex, what do you think chromosomes should determine?
I think that the scientific mind, when looking at sort of like groupings of traits that we use to conjoin like a descriptive characteristic, like say for example sex, male, female, nothing really determines anything. Usually these things fall into a bimodal set where the vast majority of men will have, for example, the broader shoulders, the body hair, the denser bone structure, the wider muscle mass, the penis, the testicle, that sort of thing. But there are exceptions.
None of it's real.
No, I'm saying the opposite, actually. That these things, this is like a really strong correlation. However, there are some exceptions where there are people who are male in every respect except their chromosomes who are still treated as men, or who have the right chromosomes but were born with a vagina. And these things are genetic abnormalities in the sense that they don't occur that often. But according to a study that I read, approximately 2% of the population is intersex to some degree, which, I mean, if you round them out, that's what, like 2% of 7 billion? That's like 140 million. I'm shit at math. I'm not going to pretend. That's a lot of people,
Right, but what is the percentage of, like, in terms of noticeability? Is it like you can test it on possibly a genetic level, or like non-functioning genitalia, or a mixture of both? Like what's the gap between there? I
imagine that, and I'm not familiar with the methodology. I'm not qualified to interpret that, since that's a biological. Well, I'm not qualified to interpret the methodology. I need to speak to. Yeah. I know my limits, but
you
it
have
seems
to speak to some scientific.
It's it seems like the people in that 2% stat were these were intersex conditions which were evident to like a regular like scrutiny of a doctor, like a regular test. Like you don't have to go digging deep, from my understanding. The point that I'm laboriously trying to get to here
the reason I bring it up though is that you seemed really excited that there was a very high number to correlate to, but then you don't really know the. Yeah, but you didn't know like the specific example, so I don't know why you're using that as an example.
Oh, you're right. If it makes
like,
you more
not,
comfortable,
like, fully,
if it makes you, you're right. No, it's true. I'm not qualified to analyze every study that I cite, but I can wheel it back. Even if there was a single intersex person, just a single one, I would consider that to be evidence that we need to look at the binary model and adjust it. The bimodal model is the one currently accepted by scientists. It's a lot more accurate. It has much better predictive ability because you're not leaving out a substantial portion of the population. In that sense, chromosomes, genitalia, they don't really determine anything. They just correlate very strongly with other characteristics that
with almost 99% accuracy.
Yes.
Though.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's a very strong bimodal association. But that's
I don't know. It's just like it seems sort of unscientific to scrutinize on the like fringe variables than to the like almost 99%.
No, you're not getting with the program. If there's one twisted freak out there who wants to wear lipstick.
No internal dialogue. Andy over here mixing up intersex and trans people. Jesus Christ!
Wait a second.
We will defend ourselves. Get back!
Stay back!
So to put a nice little ribbon on this, I'm sorry, it's literally the scientific consensus. I thought you guys were the facts over feelings.
But the scientific...
Hold on, let me say something. Stop! Be quiet! Let the college speak. Lena, go ahead real quick. Your final take here.
Well, a couple of things. I am curious of where you got that information, like where you came across the idea that chromosomes don't really determine really anything. Links, what website you read from. And then also, I was kind of curious of what your take was on Drag Queen's story, and that's all I've got.
Yeah. Okay. So to the first thing, I am not a very good reader. I get bored very easily. However, anytime I say something stupid on stream, a bunch of people DM me scientific links. Going over a bunch of links that I was provided and waging them against sort of the consensus that I read after speaking with some professors at my university, it seems to be that the bimodal model of like human sex has actually been accepted for a pretty long time in the scientific community. This isn't like a radical SJW thing. It's just how things are and have been for a while, and people only started challenging it when reactionary YouTubers started realizing they could make money off making fun of trans people.
Reading is annoying. Reading is annoying. Is that what you said?
Yeah, yes, I get bored very easily. I'm a poor reader. I'm a millennial in this respect. I like my YouTube videos. What can I say?
Yeah, but To be fair, though, we also have a stronger percentage correlation, more than 2%, of like in a study, basically, that political biases can influence whether or not studies get published, even if they're lacking in methodology or lacking in academic. What's the word?
Right, but this isn't a single study. This is consensus. Studies that are put out concerning sex refer to it as a bimodal system, and they address the fact that there is variation in the sort of distribution of sexual characteristics. What was the last question from the caller?
Something about
the drag story time stuff.
Yeah, I did a video about that. It didn't really seem like a big deal to me. Kids like it when people.
It would be a story time if you got dragged.
People,
I guess
you would be fine with your kids hanging out with drag queens and pedophiles and stuff like that.
Do you? Whoa, wait, hold on. That was two separate questions right there.
Well, one of these people they busted,
Yes, it's true. Of the many people they hired, they didn't provide any background checks for them. It turns out that one of them had a prior sexual offense, and that person was quietly removed. It doesn't.
Now, but in general, you're fine with it,
Yeah,
as long
drag
as
queens. I've been to drag shows. They're literally just like people that like dressing up crazy.
But what about for the parents who say, "I don't want my kids,"
and literally have a higher disposition?
What about the parents like you? It's fine if you want to take your kids to that show on your own. But as far as them coming up to a school or something like that, that's a different.
No, I still don't have a problem with that. As long as I trust that the public education system warrants like some level of background check for people they're going to bring in with the kids. I hope so. They do so with teachers, at least. Is he okay?
I mean, you seem to have a higher than usual, especially for a leftist, trust of the public education system's ability to do things in a safe and responsible way.
Is there any evidence whatsoever that drag queens have a higher predisposition towards sexual molestation of children? Because I haven't seen any evidence to that effect. Can you provide me the data?
Faggots have a higher disproportionate rate of committing all sorts of crimes.
All right, let me read
sexual, violent, and even
so
crimes.
he's having he's having fun over there. But I've actually looked at the data.
You are more likely to get robbed, raped, murdered, assaulted, or any other number of crimes by a homo than you are by a straight person.
Thank you for
That's
your
straight
input.
up statistics. They're more violent.
So I was a sociologist, so this literally is my wheelhouse. And from the statistics that I have read, I do not believe there is a buddy. I know you're really eager to get your voice heard on your own podcast, but if you could let me finish a sentence or two. I know you're eager. I know you're eager because your voice overlapping with mine is the closest we'll get to holding hands in public. But if you could please let me finish a sentence.
Well, that's the thing. You don't want to hold my hands in public because I'm a biological male and you only send lewd and crude pussy sniffing messages to biological females.
I can address that in two ways. For one, I'm pansexual.
Oh, we're going to address it.
First off, wait a minute. What is he talking about? What is even happening? I don't know.
Oh, there was a big brouhaha about a month ago over me sexually harassing a girl over Discord messages about a year and a half ago.
Okay, so what
gets caught sniffing pussy crumbs. Describes it as a brouhaha.
Rand, let him finish.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
wait a minute.
I don't know what the pussy. If this is like a kink that's getting projected, it was just.
I have no idea. Just wait. What happened? I guess I don't know if you talked about it already. I don't.
Oh no. It's pretty simple, honestly. So I was friends with the girl back about 2 years ago in Destiny's Discord because I've been a big fan of his, so that's where I hung out, and that girl and I became friends, and we talked for a while, and I was, now looking back in the logs from that conversation, pretty fucking creepy and pushy with her. Totally true. Anyway.
A little forward, you might say.
Yeah, that might be, I think, understating it a little bit, but yeah, no, definitely.
But you choose now to live your life as a gay man?
I was being nice. By the way, I haven't seen the messages, so I don't even know what's going on. So
yeah, no. It's pretty simple. I was definitely like creepy and pushing the messages, totally. And we stopped being friends after about 4 months, and then she accused me of sexually harassing her. And I thought, well, fuck, no, I didn't, bitch. Shut the fuck up. We were friends. What are you talking about? Things settled down, but about a month ago, it came up again. I looked over the logs, saw that I actually was pretty shitty, and that's that. We live, we learn.
All right, fair enough.
So in 2 years, when you review this, you'll realize, oh, I was also pretty shitty there.
Am I sexually harassing you right now? Am I being too forward?
That's
Do you want me to take my hands off
that
you?
thing about holding hands out of nowhere, that was kind of
I feel very triggered by that.
Well, it was no worse. It's no worse than the intellectual fucking that I would give this guy if he tried to present any of the statistical evidence he's lying about over the course of this stream.
All right, now let me read these.
That's right. Oh, so you actually want to dispute that the fact that homosexuals actually commit more crime disproportionately?
No, that actually is correct.
Okay.
Okay. What I would like to dispute is the idea that A, that's in any way relevant to what we were talking about.
But that doesn't mean anything. I guess.
Okay, wait. Does anyone sincerely believe this guy can engage fairly with data? Can we move on to the next thing? This is really boring talking to this.
If you're willing to overlook the 13,250, then I guess you're willing to overlook anything.
Hold up. Did you just say that he was correct in that assertion? It just wasn't like the right conclusion?
Yeah, this is why, generally speaking, when you look at data, you can't just look at the percentages. You actually have to take the abstract interpretation from the research.
If it doesn't
Buddy,
matter,
I know you're really eager to get in. I admire your enthusiasm, but we can take a step back and we can let me answer the question.
All of those things you say, like we're more violent, we're more willing to do political violence. We need to crush the alt-right.
All right, Rand.
He's really mad. I didn't do anything. He's already like threatening to fight me.
I'm just pointing out. I'm pointing out. You fucking.
You got me, dude. I'm a Jew,
Ralph
and
has
you
to
got
read
me
the
this
super
time.
chats.
Well, wait. I can answer the question if you'd like.
He's off air. You got to give him a little bit to. There we go.
No, I mean I'm cool with it. I feel like it's a more productive combo without him here, but I guess he appeals to the right wing sort of.
Well, Rand's also our third co-host for Mondays.
Also, your big problem there. So we're going to have a more productive conversation without Rand. But this is not a productive conversation.
Rand, hold on. Go ahead and finish what you were saying, Vouch. We'll take some more callers. First off, finish what you're saying. Then I'm going to read these super chats right after. I'm going to read all of them.
Okay, all right.
Then we're going to take some callers.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I'm going to try and appeal to this guy. Okay, Western civilization is the greatest one we've ever seen built, and one of the ways in which it's great is the pure-blooded Aryan scientists and statisticians.
Well, stop trying to destroy it, Hirsch.
No, hold on. Let me finish. The beautiful Aryan scientists who have, through very careful interpretation of data, but he literally can't stop.
Both hands running through
Rand, let him finish.
Jesus Christ. So anyway, our society is super complicated, and there's a lot of data that comes out like all the time that can indicate different things, which is why more important than the data itself is the actual. Oh my God!
Wait, hold up.
I can leave if you guys want. This guy has a lot to say.
Wait, Rand, wait, hold up. So you just went on about how much you love. Yep.
I literally can't finish a point with this guy.
Now listen. I'm gonna read all these super chats. Just let me read these. Irene Lehman says Ralph admit. I already read that one. Ronson says Ralph, I think you missed my last super chat. Oh yeah, Ronson said in the super chat before that, said this is gonna be great. It's time for the proletariat to bash the chuds. Let's see. Rashad Abdul Salam says Vouch is a wannabe leftist Shapiro. Bagel Goose says have this guy send me his toes. Let's see. Irene Lehman, I already read that. David Knight says, how can there be sweeping white supremacy worldwide when whites are a minority? You're okay with political punching up for minorities. What about the repercussions of majority punching back? You okay with that?
Oh, is that? Yeah. Yeah, it's a really disingenuous statement. In countries where white people are dispossessed and they're actual minorities, yeah, 100% I stand. Well, yeah, easy peasy. That place is not where we live. Well, actually, I don't know where that donator lives. I don't want to make assumptions, but I live in the United States of America. And when
that'd be a first. He doesn't want to make
when the demographics tick over, so it's like 49% white, 51% everything else. We are not suddenly going to become like the dispossessed minority that's struggling desperately to eke out a living under like the international Jewish conspiracy. But in situations where white people are minorities, yeah, absolutely, I stand with racial minorities of all sorts.
We'll totally stand up for you once we've managed to make you a minority in every single one of your countries.
Jesus,
what do you think about what's going on? Wait a minute. What do you think about what's going on?
Breaking news.
Oh my fucking God.
Calm
Rand,
down, Rand, please.
what do you think about South Africa?
I've been wanting to learn more about that. I know that a lot of the people complaining about the white farmers getting their land dispossessed were liars, because a lot of the complaints that I heard, I ended up doing some independent research on. It turns out it was a fucking lie. But then I looked into it more, and it seems like there actually is some fucked up stuff going on there. I would want to do more research before I made a statement. But
based on a lie by the statistics given out by the South African government?
No, that's not all the info that's come out. A lot of people. Wait, do you really believe no one's made like any hyperbolic statements?
Out of everything you've said so far in this conversation, nothing had triple parentheses hanging off it more than independent research.
The general response that I've seen in a lot of these circles against there's no actual targeted violence in South Africa towards the ethnic minority whites is because of the statistics put out by the South African government. Is that the reasoning that you found out that it was a lie, or
no, there were just people making claims about like cabals of death squads going around mowing down white farmers without like a chance of resistance. I'm not saying that all the claims were false. I'm saying
I agree. Blacks can't organize to that level.
Jesus Christ! Every sentence. He's so eager. I respect it. To put it shortly, it's a super complicated situation, and it looks like it's pretty fucked up. And I'd like to learn more about it before I make like a decisive commentary. But hey, if it turns out the whites are getting fucked over there, then yeah, I stand for them. Totally, 100%.
Okay. All right, let me read these. Lord Huguenot says, the Chad loan shark Vaush will whack you brainlet. Mariner 1712 says, Vaush, you smooth brain redheads make up less than 2%, and every LGBT makes up less than that.
That's not so all gay, lesbian, trans, and bisexual people combined. I'm pretty sure
maybe you need each category.
Allow me to tell you the statistics I'm more comfortable with.
Each like respective category. I don't think that's true, but it doesn't matter either way.
I don't know about two. Yeah, that seems a little. I don't know. Lolo Saint Ifrit says, "Ooh, how many inches of BBC did Sargon take?" We have the Sargon BBC story.
Oh dear,
it's still coming up. Yeah. It's the British Broadcasting Corporation, not actually.
It's one and the same at this point.
The BBC's been doing good work lately. Y'all saw the Shapiro thing, though, right? You hate Shapiro, guy, right?
I know. The BBC went totally pause. It's been doing great work.
I know. This guy's anti-Shapiro because he's a Jew, right? I assume
Shapiro's a Jew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shapiro.
I'm not sure why.
It's more because he's a Zionist war hawk, but there's no way that could ever have any correlation between the two.
Well, I mean, I literally got banned off Twitch for saying the United States of America should bomb Israel. I'm the first major political streamer to ever, like left-leaning major political streamer to ever be banned.
Yeah,
off
nobody's
Twitch.
ever said that before.
What do you mean?
Wow, you're the first.
You should have just said how much.
You should have no one's ever said that.
I have no idea what he's going on about.
You should have just gone on about how much you can't wait until you can genocide Republicans. I mean, that seems to fly pretty well on the radar there. But, geez, you say one critical thing about Israel, specifically Israel.
Well, I mean, the reason I actually got banned was because I was reported by alt-right trolls. So maybe you guys need to work harder on Destiny.
Well, hold up. How do you know that?
Because well, you know what? I don't know deductively.
Because it would be convenient if it was true.
I can inductively
reason.
That's
real, right?
Well, do you want to know the answer, or do you cut your one-liners?
Deductively reason. He doesn't know.
I mean, because I would wager that there are a lot of normie lefties.
You got reported.
He literally can't. He's so eager. He's got his words, and he loves them.
Let me finish, please. I mean, there are a lot of normie lefties that have a knee-jerk response that anytime Israel is brought up in any sort of less than charitable way, anti-Semitism. We gotta report this. Can't have this.
Hey, listen, I completely agree. I'm very anti-Israel.
You got star-chambered. You got star-chambered by your own leftist faggot buddies, and you want to blame the alt-right.
So the reason why,
to be fair, the overall...
I can answer when you guys are ready.
But real quick, though, you would admit that the overall viewership of Twitch is probably predominantly left, right?
No, not even slightly. I think most of them are apolitical. Most are just like edgy teen gamers. Yeah.
Right, but the person the people that... So yet again, how do you know that this was an alt-right troll?
I was trying to answer that. The reason, I can't know. You're never told who submitted the clip that gets you reported and what have you. But the reason I think that is because I had my stream. I was complaining. I was ranting and raving. I was doing my anti-Zionist shit, and I had about 400 viewers. And then I got a sudden spike to like 450 that was really, I'd never gone above 400 before. I got a sudden spike to 450 and a bunch of messages in chat from people with Honkler as their avatar. And then I ended because I was about to end my stream anyway.
What were the messages? What was the overall theme of the messages?
Oh, you can kind of guess, right? Like, oh
no,
yeah,
I would imagine that
careful, Goyim. The Jews will notice your, pilfering.
How many base did you get though?
Well, see, that's the thing. Even when I criticize Israel, you guys won't give me accolades. It really sucks. But
I mean, I'm not criticizing. I'm not criticizing you for that. I'm saying that Israel has a very undue influence in our political system. I think that
I agree. So you guys stand with Ilhan Omar and her criticism of AIPAC?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, in her criticism of AIPAC, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, I stand with Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, we talked about it on the show,
for all the bitching about Russian meddling in elections and like democracy, like the fact that the Israeli government through AIPAC runs, intelligence operations on U.S. citizens.
Yeah, it's super fucked. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the Russian thing did happen to an extent. All of our intel agencies agreed collectively that they had. Listen, buddy, I'm not this. Okay, this guy is like a poison to a conversation. Holy shit!
Keep coping, fucker.
But to what extent? Like, because the only thing that we've had any sort of indictments are like indictments on setting up social media trolling accounts, which
it seemed
one will never see the light of day in court.
Well, hold on. So I'm a leftist. I'm critical of institutional power, but when all of our intelligence agencies together collectively informed the president that a foreign body interfered with our media sphere during the time of an election, that does mean something. Now, I'm not saying that they like.
Yeah, it means you're either stupid or a liar.
Oh my fucking god, bro! You're posting cringe.
You would say though that a foreign country's intelligence operation running operations on U.S. citizens on U.S. soil is a little bit more severe than running trolling ops, running trolling accounts.
A lot of people. I mean, your language inherently downplays it. A lot of people
get
their
news.
I gotta finish a sentence.
Full spectrum of this.
I gotta finish a sentence to make.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So the consensus seems to be that Russia did a pretty decent job of seizing some aspects of social media, Twitter and Facebook being the big sort of like the big ones, and a lot of people get their news through these sources. Tens, hundreds, millions of people get their news from these sources, and it turns out after some of these organizations, buddy, please, after some of these organizations sort of looked into it and determined which organizations were being controlled by like a Russian interest, it turns out a lot of people had gotten their news from institutions that were compromised by Russian. So again, it's not exactly like they snuck in and ripped out the ballots or anything, but it's a thing. It happened.
I mean they went looking for a convenient answer and they found one? Oh, knock me down with a feather.
Yes, the intelligence agencies, all of them, were collectively looking for any desperate excuse as to how Hillary lost the election.
The deep state invalidated
this
it.
Guy shitposts so well.
Like
every word out of his mouth is unpredictable and extremely innovative.
Breaking news. Police investigate themselves, find out they did nothing wrong.
I have literally no idea what
perfectly innocent.
Okay, all right, let's read the rest.
By the way, I just investigated myself. It turns out I'm flawless and I never make any mistakes.
Wait, I have a sincere question really quickly before we move forward. Is he always like this?
Yes.
Okay, that is unfortunate, but let's continue.
Wait, how much Rand, how much refreshment have you had this evening?
Not nearly enough to listen to a commie faggot Jew.
I literally every other sentence gets jumped on. Like, I think that your viewers might have a little more fun if you got to make fun of me in a way that's respect. Again, that was incredible. That was the second sentence out of my mouth. He got it.
Your entire shtick is to be a gish gallop.
I'm gish galloping? Wait, how can you accuse me of gish galloping?
Sit back and listen to me while I just babble on and tell you.
I think that your viewers might have a little more fun if the insults you got to direct my way were actually pointed and in response to what I said.
Actually fucking injecting. That's what's got you upset.
I genuinely can't. Like, am I supposed to joke with him,
no, you
or do I just
can't.
Like, do I just let him interrupt every other?
Having a fucking heckler fucks up your gish gallop.
Rand. Let's all sit on your hands for just a second. Let Ralph read the super chat.
I didn't know gish galloping was responding with
and then
one
let's take some
answers
callers
to questions I'm given, but okay.
All right, let me read these. Eric Harrison says, this guy is absolutely clueless. Scientific consensus from my YouTube videos. Wasatch Man says, so we are taking this guy's science based on articles fed to him by his audience. Who fed him their side of the story? Definition, confirmation bias.
What?
I don't know. It's a super chat. Eric
Wait,
Harrison
what?
said-
That didn't make any
Well, to
sense.
be fair,
he said, so we are taking this guy's science based on articles fed to him by his audience. Who fed him their side of the story?
Wait, just really
definition,
quickly, does that viewer think that scientific consensus means like I read a single article that said that like a group of researchers discovered
No, I
that
think
sex is bimodal?
he's asserting that your viewer base cherry picked studies that were
It's your
more
crowdsourcing.
then it's a good thing. It's a good thing then.
to you since you
Yeah,
didn't
it's
look
a
them
good
up on
thing
your
then.
own.
Then I looked up those studies and then went out and researched it more and then corroborated with the science department at my former university. And every single thing that I engaged with indicated scientists consider sex to be bimodal, and nothing I found disproved that. If you guys have evidence, like modern scientific evidence, that scientists who work in, say, biology or endocrinology consider sex to be a binary, I would love to see it. But until then, I'm pretty confident in the validity of my claim.
All right,
I'm
Eric
pretty
Harrison-
confident that if
Oh, he's got one. He's got
Right.
another one.
Brandon,
Yeah, I
You
do.
wait until you're done.
Yeah, I do. Listen to this. If the government
I'm ready.
mandated that the
Am I a
only
Jew?
acceptable gender was purple,
Am I Muslim?
then every
Oh
single
my god,
scientific
the attack
outlet would
helicopter
fucking agree
joke.
with it.
He's got it. God damn, what an innovative wit.
No.
Shine this guy up for a fucking comedy
Ah,
deal.
see,
What
he's
if
trying
genders
he's trying
were
to deflect.
purple?
He's trying to deflect.
What's coming
Alright,
out of this
alright.
guy's mouth next?
You know
What if
exactly
gender was
what I'm
bread
talking
roll?
about, buddy. See, this is straight out of the playbook.
What if
First they
gender was
assume that you're
discarded
stupid,
tissue?
and then they pretend to be stupid. You know exactly what I'm referring to. You're
What
referring
if-
to the fact
what
that
if-
politics
What if the
absolutely
government
does
said?
dictate
What if the
what
government
comes out
said
of
that gender
scientific-
is the
what
microphone?
comes out of scientific.
The microphone that I'm using. God damn, this guy's
Well,
fucking
your
dumb.
microphone definitely identifies as a homosexual.
Okay.
I mean, it must be like getting anal by a faggot.
Rant.
That is the
Let's
most
do the rest
He's
of
All
got
right,
it.
let me read these.
Everyone.
Brand. Let
Yeah.
me read these. Eric Harrison. Now this one has an allegation that it's pretty harsh. You can respond to it if you want. Eric Harrison says he literally sent her unsolicited dick pics, then tried to scare her into silence. The internet never forgets.
Oh yeah, that's just fake news. I never sent any dick pics.
Okay. All right. King Minion says it's okay, Vouch. As a pansexual drag queen myself, I understand being me too'd by a tranny as well. # support trans rights.
I don't think the person who me too'd me was trans, but okay. Thanks for the solidarity.
Okay. Yeah.
No, you wouldn't have creeped on him if he was trans.
All right. Let me.
I hope to not creep. I
females
hope
only,
to not
Corey.
creep on. Wait. You know I flirt with men too, right? Like at least make. Wait, how can you make fun of me for being a faggot, but also say I only creep on women?
Well, you're a spiritual faggot.
Oh, okay.
You're gay on the
An
inside.
Okay. I mean, I've been pretty gay on the outside before. Let me tell you, buddy. I've been pretty successfully gay on the outside. But okay, I mean,
All right, prove me wrong by regaling us with tales of your homosexual conquests.
do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's
No,
talk
we
about
wanna
the
read the
first
rest of
time
the
you
super
got
chats.
buggered in it. Let's talk about the first time you got fisted in a gay bathroom.
That didn't happen. Why are you? Wait. Do you wait really quickly, Rand? Do you consider yourself to be like an empirical person, like science and reason and stuff, or do you just work off feelings? Because everything you've said is just like you being kind of grossed out and disgusted and childish. There's nothing wrong with like disagreeing with me, but the way in which you've done it indicates that you just kind of like feel uncomfortable with me or what I believe.
No, I just understand. I understand what your type of pill pull is, and the best way to fuck you up is just to take the piss out of
I'm
you.
super triggered,
No, I'm not,
dude.
I'm not gonna have.
You're
fucking sit
fucking me
down
up.
debate
He's
with
got
you
it.
because
He
you're a
found my
fag.
weak point by being a fucking idiot 24/7. He's
Yeah, I
gotten
have.
me.
Look how he shrinks back. Look.
Yeah, I'm getting
Look how-
tinier
look
with
how
every
injured
moment.
he
I'm
is.
shrinking. I'm 6 inches tall.
You
I have
can-
no
you can
idea
call
what he's
him-
going on
You
about.
can call him anything, a
Alright.
warmonger,
Alright,
a
let me-
profiteer,
I have
call him a
literally no
Jew,
idea what he's going
and see
on.
how he shrinks
Rand,
back.
let me read these.
How upset he is. Oh
Rand,
God, I found out.
Let me read these. Super chat. Digital bitch slap says gas them? Question mark. I don't know what the. JJ Hemingway
we
says-
know. We know what they're
JJ
talking
Hemingway.
about.
I don't know what they're talking about, actually. JJ Hemingway says, kick this Destiny wannabe ball bag. I think that was like a quote. They were quoting somebody. I don't know where they got that from. Eric Harrison says, it's pretty hilarious reading this guy's downfall on Reddit. No wonder he got kicked out of Destiny's little corner of the net. He's a predator. Digital bitch slap
Got him.
says, watch
I gotta wait. Hold on. I gotta ask.
Miko, let me finish these. Wait a minute. Digital Bitch Slap says, watch the video one why liberals defend evil on YouTube. I don't know that video, but Turkey Baster says, if you can't stand the Rand, get out. Perfect Blue says, love the show, but seriously, shut the fuck up when your guests talk. Interrupting makes you look like you have no argument. Stream Jar from Non-Authority says, mute Rand, he sucks. Banana Yam says, Vouch, what do you think of Agenda 21 in the UN?
I do not. Can I Google it real quick? Hold on.
If you'd like.
I this sounds familiar to me, but I would like to. Sustainable Development Knowledge Platform, comprehensive globally, nationally, governments, Rio Declaration, further implementation of 21. In Johannesburg, South Africa. I remember reading about this before, and I remember very strongly not having an opinion on it. I don't like the United Nations very much.
All right, a few more. Let's see. Digital Bit Slap says, I'm not on the left or right. Turkey Baster says, smug caller is smug. Digital Bitch Slap says, read the super chats. You're right. I'm doing it right now. Eric Harrison says, the evidence doesn't suggest that at all. LML. They bought a few ads on Facebook. Wow. This guy literally makes me crack up. Zach Osborne says, first, alt-right didn't shut down your Twitch stream. It got shut down because they joined it. Second, the Russia connection is real. Only it traces back to Israel via Shabbat Lubavitch. Dig deeper. He says, them, echo, echo, echo. Says, the quote says he's an anarchist, constantly appeals to authority. Eric Harrison says,
wait, does being an anarchist mean I can't cite studies? Okay. Got it.
Actually, it kind of does. Like anything short of like anything short of living in your own shit in the middle of a jungle is kind of antithetical to being an anarchist.
He's got me. He did it. He found the defeater. Kropot can eat your heart out.
Let me read this. NPC says, this chubby commie is insane. He says the West is the best, yet LARPs is an anarchist. You can't have it both ways. Why does the institution punish Antifa rioters or the Proud Boys? First left-wing streamer banned, quote, and then he has a bunch of thinking emojis.
Wait, what? I feel like an accusation was made there, but I don't know.
First, it says chubby commie is insane. I'm assuming he's speaking about you.
Yeah, it got me.
You attest to your mental fidelity.
Sure. Yeah, I think I'm in a right state of mind. I mean, I'm on the kill stream right now. I guess I have to be a little loopy.
That might not be argument number one in your favor, but he says the West is the best, yet LARPs is an anarchist. You can't have it both ways. What do you say to that? I mean, it's a non sequitur. I don't think I've said the West is best. I think the West is currently probably in terms of living standards and like wealth and possibility, like potential for growth, probably the West is best in that respect. I don't really know what the West means, but we sort of collectively understand what we're talking about when we say the West. I don't know what that has to do with me being an anarchist in any way, shape, or form. I'm quite sincere in my anarchic principles, but anarchists don't just decide to like go out and bomb everything until we all live in a smoking rubble heap. As cathartic as that might be some days, I actually prefer to constructively improve society. All right, Stream Jar from Deep Fried Lettuce. He says, at least his mic is better than Pause Blogger. Question number 2 for the guest. How can anarchists tear down all hierarchy if they are all bottoms?
Okay. For one, I'll give it. That was actually funny. For 2, I'll take up the burden. I'm pretty solidly a top. I'm actually pretty much exclusive.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
Okay.
Fair enough. I just let
that. Right, hang on, sorry. I just have to do one last interruption.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a significant amount of Aim Good juice, so I'm gonna go away for 3 minutes and make a strong argument for communism, and then I'll be right back.
All right. Let's take some callers. Why don't we do that?
Yes,
Dirty
please.
D. Dirty D disagrees. You're on the air. Lightning round. Go. No.
Muted.
Dirty disagrees.
Oh,
5, 4.
We're not gonna
3.
do it. He can get back in if he wants. Let's see. Juven, you're on the air on the laboratory. Go ahead.
How's it going, guys?
Howdy.
Very good. How you doing, sir?
All right. I would like to point out a contradiction to your guests. Sorry, my YouTube is
That's okay.
Just a second.
Yeah, hit me up.
Okay, so you stated earlier that you wanted everybody to mix and become like one mixed race, or did you Do you stand by that statement?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a realistic short-term goal, but given time, yes. I mean, we've already seen this happen over the past 1,000 years. It seems likely the trend will continue, at least for the most part.
Well, okay. We can argue maybe that or for that this has not been brought about naturally, but because of economic reasons that people have had to move from different parts of the world. That's one. Secondly, if you're an anarchist, uh, you know, erasing all cultures to make one world culture is a huge contradiction.
Whoa, whoa.
As an anarchist, you should believe that like people should be able to make their own decisions, right? Or people should have the right to decide by themselves what kind of life they want to live.
Yeah,
And if you're gonna have
I
that
agree.
standard, automatically you're gonna have differences.
Whoa. I have nothing against differences. I want the world to be a beautiful, unique place where one town is different from another, one city different.
Just as long as the kikes are all over all of it.
Right. No, I'm pretty anti-theist as well, so preferably all agnostic, but sure. I'm 100% in favor of different cultures, but we don't need to all be like the same race to be the same culture. Cultures vary tremendously from American town to American town, from Brussels to London to Dublin to Warsaw. There is so much diversity that we can find in spite of very superficial differences like skin color.
I would disagree with that. I'm pretty well traveled, and what's happening today is you have an Americanization of culture. Whether you go to when you talk about those big cities where racial and more multicultural societies are developing, you have this homogenization.
Well, I'd like to step in. I'd like to step in. That has nothing.
As a homogeny, I'd like to step in.
Yes, that has nothing to do with the homogeneity of races. This is happening all over the world, even in ethnically homogeneous cultures. The problem there is capitalism. It's most efficient to follow a certain modal doctrine of economic formation. So all places, if they want to keep up with the global market, need to adopt the same basic economic principles, which leads to the same businesses coming in, or at least businesses very similar to others, which leads to the same way of life for everyone. Advertisements and billboards take up our city streets. It's impossible to go on a nighttime jog without bumping into, well, if you live in a big city at least, without bumping into 1,000 ugly, disgusting concrete brick house office buildings. This, to me, is not a problem of race, but a problem of economy. And I am, as I say again, an anarchist, so I'm pretty against that too.
So you would agree that capitalism does want to mix everybody up and make one world culture, so because that would make it efficient for it to move workers from one place to another, and for it to deal with workers.
Yeah, the logical end state of capitalism, the true end state, if it doesn't fall by then, would be a world in which all human beings are interchangeable cogs in a massive economic machine, a capital monster that eats human lives and shits them out money on the other side. All things being the same insofar as people can make a buck off of it. I agree. This is the end state of capitalism. But I don't think it has anything to do with race.
So don't you agree that the no borders are that's like a secondary remark, that the people who advocate no borders are capitalism's biggest friend? They're on the left, but they don't realize that they would actually help capitalism. The abolition of borders is one of capitalism's biggest aim.
Yes, libertarians and neoliberals do want the abolition of, well, maybe not the abolition of borders, because
no borders are on the left, buddy.
Well, wait, hold on. That's not necessarily true. There are statist leftists, but what's more, there can be different reasons to wanting to lower borders and different outcomes. A capitalist wanting to lower borders does so for money. An anarchist does so to eliminate hierarchy. The end goal of a capitalist lowering borders is the homogenization of everything in the service of capital. The end result of an anarchist doing so, or at least I'd like to hope so, is a world in which people are free to move around and experience the beauty each town, city, and hamlet has to offer.
Right. All right, thank you, Juven. Thank you for calling in. I gotta get some of these.
It was a good discussion. I love you, buddy.
Yes, thank you. All right, thank you.
You know, maybe I am using the wrong tactics, because you really did seem to struggle there talking to someone who speaks English as a second language.
What? That's the weakest grab I've ever heard in my life. I was nice to him. Is that bad? Should I have been mean?
I'd like to see you be mean.
Oh.
I don't think you're capable of it.
Okay. I mean, my entire channel kind of
think
stands in opposition to that. I chose to be civil
Grant
here.
has had a little bit more aim juice than
I guess maybe we've got a we're having a failure.
This is
to
just,
communicate.
generally speaking, I think the thing that separates you and me is that after I make a really weak gotcha, I shut up for a bit out of shame. But I think you push through it, and I think you might be stronger than me for that. Because about 2/3 of the shit you say is really fucking cringy, but you keep it going.
Number one pussy chasing fan. I don't think you actually understand what being mean is.
Okay.
And I don't think that you make.
Are you trying to like out alpha me? Are you trying to like raw dog alpha zone me?
Well, I already.
Are you doing it? Yeah, you want to? Yeah,
I already said
we can do it. Let's do it. Let's just grunt at each other
me.
like a bunch of fucking baboons. Are you ready?
What? Yeah. Okay. Ready.
All right. There. Did we get it out of our system?
I like a pot of water in the frogs that makes the chemicals gay.
Did we do it? Did we get it out of our system? Are we good?
Oh, Randy,
Yes,
I
I'm
love
not
you.
really sure what's happened this evening.
I love Rand. I love him.
Kind of just along for the ride, Like
I think we're going on with more callers.
Yeah, listen, before I dip, I'm not saying I'm dipping now, but when it reaches that point, I gotta have 5 minutes to talk about incels, okay? I've been craving that discussion since it came on.
Why don't we just talk about it now? Here, hold on. But let me read these first.
Yeah.
Mariner1712 says, Vaush, I know you think the loan shark / Oldman voice is convincing, but even MSNBC canned him. Stay back.
It's just my voice. I'm just trying to sound professional. It's okay. All right.
Clown World Order says leftists distrust authority, then appeal to the same institutions that have been corrupt for decades and violate our civil rights. Okay, got it.
Got him. It's a
Bagel
stupid
Goose
point,
says,
but got him.
Bagel Goose said send toes or Rand will interrupt more. Turkey Baster says I'm a very what does it say? I'm a verse top. Okay, bud, sure. I think it's about your top comment.
Oh yeah, verse top means you generally top, but you're open to being a bottom or a switch.
Verse top. Okay. Lace Person says saying you're ANCAP and believing same institutions that said Iraq had WMDs.
Wait, I'm not an ANCAP. What the fuck? I'm like the opposite of an ANCAP. Anarcho-capitalist? Come on, come on! They gotta give it to me straight here. Yeah,
Are they just anarchists?
Yeah, yeah.
He is the most special. He's an Anpriv communist.
I'm not an Amprim. Yeah, I can respond to this generally. Okay, I agree. Most of the institutions in which we live are really deeply fucking corrupt. However, we live in a world where there's a lot of information that no individual man or woman or whatever can be privy to, and when that's the case, we have to, unless we literally just want to go out and live in the woods, we have to make some reasoned interpretations of what institutions tell us. I'm not going to look at FBI statistics and CDC statistics and go oh, well.
No, you're not going to look at FBI statistiks.
I do. I'm familiar with them.
Have you looked at Table 43?
Do you really think this is a clever gotcha? You fucks have been spam posting this on the internet for 10 years.
Well, refute it.
Unfortunately for all of us,
do I really have to do the fucking 1350 thing here? This is the most boring fucking
1350,
overplayed.
nigga.
Is this? We get a lot of good discourse out of this guy. Yeah.
Real quick though, but unfortunately for all of us, we will never see the validity of these assertions ever tested out because there's no way any of this is ever going to go to actual trial.
Wait, what's going to go to trial?
Any of the Russian interference stuff, it's never going to go to trial.
Oh yeah, so. I mean, I never cared about it that much. I don't really For one, I fucking hate
Israel.
Well, no, I'm a leftist. I hate Hillary. I don't care. The problem here is the rise of white nationalism. Russia's involvement is I guess an amusing side piece. It would have been nice if we could have gotten an impeachment on a technicality, but that's not really a victory. A victory is for America to rise up its people as one and say that we reject Nazism as we once did, and for us to go about solving our global problems like adults rather than whiny fucking man babies who are still mad that they're not being treated.
I'm really glad that
Rand, hold up. To be fair though,
we'd all be speaking German and be heterosexual and building rockets now.
Real quick though, to be fair,
Oh,
like
God.
overall support of getting involved in the Second World War, especially on the European front, was like heavily.
All right, we'll get to that.
heavily-
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I hold on. Let me read this. Stream jar. It's been a rough night. Stream jar says George Patton's ghost says, if I knew my nation would be taken over by traitors, and other subversives, I would have teamed up with Germany in World War II against the Soviet Union. I regret finding this out too late. Forgive me. That was George Patton's ghost, apparently. Mariner1712 says, Vouch, what's it like LARPing as someone with an education?
I don't know. I guess it must feel pretty identical to being somebody with a bachelor's degree, because I think it feels pretty much the same.
Then Mariner1712 says, for a cocksucker, you sound like an absolute woman, Vouch.
Okay.
You ought to upgrade that. I think we can safely call it a confirmed bachelor's degree at this point.
Got me? I'm very feminine? I don't. These
Peaceful
are so
Sunset.
weak.
Let me read these. This last one. Peaceful Sunset says, haven't caught a full live show in a while. Chad Rand versus Virgin Dick Pic Commie equals quality show. Thanks, Ralph. You're welcome. I didn't really realize. So we had talked about having you on. I think we had said it for Monday, but I kind of forgot. There's some other stories as well. What's the BAN? My wife just messaged me and wanted me to ask you that.
Actually, more importantly, what's the BMI?
No, just what's the what's your
what is your BMI
if you don't mind telling us. If you do, that's fine too. Vouch, are you there?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, she was asking what's your degree in.
Oh, sociology with a minor in communication.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You mentioned it. You mentioned that earlier.
Sorry, I blanked out for a moment.
With a minor in what?
Communications.
Okay. So this
Does your mind just drift away to flaming Cheetos or something?
This is completely unrelated to anything we've discussed this evening, but if you'll look in the show links chat, you'll see Ashton Whitty apparently swallowing a bunch of pills. I haven't heard any response. You know, I have messaged her on occasion here and there. I haven't. I just sent her a message and said, you know, somebody sent me this. I don't know if it's true or not, but she's they're talking about making allusions to taking her being overdosed. All right, let's play it. 20.
Yeah, Ashton Birdie, Baked Alaska's I guess fiance. I don't like you know.
All right.
Oh yeah, the cops turned up and
here.
everything.
Let me send the link. Although, do we want to save this for after he leaves? Do we want to cover the Sargon stuff first? Because he probably actually has an opinion
play it
on
now.
Sargon.
We'll talk about it some more later.
We'll play it now. We'll play it now.
Right,
Let's
go. Play it right now. Right now. Said. Oh, that's the clip there. I don't know of any other context. I guess that was uploaded to Instagram.
Holy shit!
I don't know if she actually did swallow the pills. He did mention something about her throwing it up, which if she had to throw it up, I mean that wouldn't make it fake. It would just mean she was, you know, throwing it up. But you know anything about Ashton and Baked Alaska?
I didn't. All I know about the two of them, didn't Baked Alaska recently get a bunch of flack because he disappeared for 6 months and came back yang ganging and having renounced the alt-right or something?
Yeah, I would say that's part of it. Yeah,
I emailed him.
You're not ready to accept him into your friend circle yet?
I literally emailed him asking.
Nazis.
I literally emailed him asking him to appear on my stream. I don't give a fuck about cancel culture. I'll bring in anyone who fights the alt-right. But then he didn't. Then he responded.
I think you might want to rethink your strategy.
wait, go ahead. Wait, what did he say? Hold on, what did he say?
Oh. Well, initially he seemed like he would be down for it, but then he stopped responding. Such is life. I'm still a pretty small content creator, so that stuff's gonna happen.
Wow.
Well, I'm sure he'll.
When Baked Alaska decides that you're full of shit.
I'm not sure if that's why he decided not to come on, but good gotcha. You'll keep working at it. You'll get him someday.
Right.
You know, the great thing about burning people is you don't actually need the victim to agree that it was a good burn. I just thought I'd point this out at this point because you're about 10 or 12 in going, huh, that's weak.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what you
I don't know
say,
what to, I don't know what to
what
say
the audience says.
to your really cringy like 15-year-old jokes. I guess if they were funny, I'd bant with them because I like the back and forth. But they're repetitive
it doesn't matter what
and they're
think.
unfunny.
It matters what the audience
so
thinks.
I don't really know how to
retard.
engage with them. All I have to do is say like, bro, you're posting cringe, dude. I don't know. I admire your tenacity. You're very strong and brave.
Well, I would admire your tenacity as well, but
choked
like
a little bit
the
there.
thing is like
Keep it
there's
going.
nothing
Keep it
tenacious.
going.
There's nothing tenacious about a retard continuing to be a retard. That's all they know how to do.
I agree. Wow, good cell phone there. But you don't need to consent to that burn you just levied against yourself. So thankfully, no takesies backsies.
Yeah, if
So
only I
this is so lame. Can we move on to something?
Real quick, I do have
it
a
really
question.
is lame, isn't it? If only you'd left and we could move on to some non-lame comment.
Real quick, because yet again, this is I gotta call it out. This is another sort of destiny thing to assert that a person has self-burned them or self-owned them, and that their contents are cringe by their own.
I don't think
admission.
Destiny is the one who invented that.
Yeah,
wait,
dude,
you think
we
he
both know that
invented the
does.
concept of
We
like
both know.
self-burn?
No, I'm saying that's a constant refrain in his overall stream
Well,
thing.
to be
Now,
fair, I haven't done it to
hold on,
you.
hold on. Let me
Okay,
finish.
no,
Let me
sure,
finish.
yeah.
No,
go
After
ahead.
this, are you going to have a 35-minute therapy session with your chat?
I was probably going to go over a few YouTube videos with them. Is that therapy?
Okay.
Is that therapeutic?
Well, no. If you talk about the stream for an extra like 30 minutes after you leave, that would be like the trifecta right there. I find that in like right wing circles generally like stealing somebody's bit in content. Well, no, stealing somebody's bit in like mannerisms is usually considered kind of cringy. I don't know. Is there a taboo with that on the left?
I mean, I don't believe that I steal his bit, and I don't believe it's trademark Destiny to talk about a thing you just did on stream. If you're trying to like shame me into not talking into my stream about how stupid all of you were when I get
no,
back
I'm
to
just
them,
asking.
I'm
asking
not
you
that.
if this
Your
is,
reverse psychology has failed horribly.
It's not reverse psychology. I don't care what the 85 mongoloid viewers in your chat think. They're
2,100.
We already know.
Fine.
We already know that they're retarded. But the question is there any sort of taboo about stealing somebody's bit so shamelessly? Because there is on our circles. I don't know. Is it the same on your circles?
Because every time something happens, all the reactionary channels pounce on it and make effectively the same video. But okay, yeah. If we're pretending that I'm
laughing at people being really fucking stupid is kind of a Trimar tradition of pretty much any group.
You know what's a tradition of being a streamer, doing a thing and then talking about it on stream.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, Flamenco.
I'm just asking
This is so fucking... You get the lamest fucking gotchas. I actually, believe it or not, I have a personal confession to make. I actually came here slightly worried that I would actually get like a little bit dunked on, okay? But I have never in my life felt more confident if this is the best. I mean, probably we've got like maybe Mr. Medicare or Alt Hype who could probably do a better job. I know Fuentes is pretty smart, but this is pretty fucking weak as insults go, you know? I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty pumped up.
That's pretty good coat posting there, bro. You know you got body.
Well, that's good. I'm the host, so I have the host duties. But let me read these. I mean, I don't engage in such petty
Ralph's
things.
cortisol levels are spiking right now.
I never get heated and call people names and throw things out like that.
Guy gets thrown out of bar, screams at the bouncers from across the street. You know I would have kicked all your asses.
All right, let me read these stream jars. Mariner1712 says a bachelor in sociology isn't a real education, you mongoloid. A fucking fine arts degree requires more reading than you've done by your own admission in your life. Karl Marx says faggots like Vouch have shown me the error of my ways. I renounce my prior works on capital. If this is what my work produces, it's just not worth it.
Cool. Quick question. Really quick. In response to the first super chat, if they don't believe sociology is a real field of study, does that mean that they don't believe the 13? So you guys don't believe in the 1350 stat? Because sociologists are the people who compile that data.
I thought that was an overall aggregate of
sociological analysis. Yeah,
but that's hard data.
Yeah, and that's what sociologists do. So if you dismiss sociology,
and what faggots like you do is trying to
I literally can't hear both of you. I've got one earbud in, buddy. Okay, I can only listen to one person at a time.
Okay.
Oh wow, he couldn't afford 2 earbuds like Bronx. Jesus Christ, this is ghetto levels of communism.
Let me take some callers. I'm taking some callers.
Yes, please.
2 Hip, go.
Oh, so I'm sorry, I kind of got into the stream late. So this is the guy that apes Destiny's bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put
you got him. I'm a thief.
No, I mean, so talking about sociology, because I'm someone with like an actual science degree, right? I actually have an education.
Cute.
I don't think
didn't help you with your public speaking that much, though. I can see.
Yeah, look how he attacked Mr. Credentialism immediately attacked someone with credentials.
Let the caller.
Well done, Vash.
Go ahead.
Let the caller finish.
No, so what I was going to say is if you want to talk about stuff like sociology or sociologists and their studies, I mean, you have a lot of different issues related to those. So, for example, studies about like gun-related suicide or gun violence in general, when it comes down to who is actually performing the study, you get wildly different results as opposed to when you're just looking at straight data.
Who gets the data?
So it depends on how you have methodology as far as how you obtain the data, correct?
Yeah.
So when economists do certain studies related to gun violence, you will end up with one result, and when say the health profession,
when economists do studies on gun violence,
correct,
the vast majority of information taken, statistical info, and the preponderance of, say, gun violence, or basically any other sociological issue, is done by sociologists. Obviously, personal bias and conflation between different statistical variables is an issue to take into consideration. That is why peer review exists.
And peer review has, by and large, failed in sociology.
Yeah, do you have any, are these just feelings you have, or do you have, like, any proof that sociology has failed?
I can actually pull some stats.
Look at him go.
I can get you some papers if you want.
So you're going to find me papers saying unilaterally that sociology is not a valid science.
Unilaterally, no.
Okay.
But I can give you certain examples of where you definitely have issues within the sociological
So wait, that's
field.
what we've downgraded to? You can prove that sometimes sociologists get it wrong? I mean, I'll own up to that.
Whoa, fuck
the
off,
vast
dude.
majority of gun crime
You're complaining about Rand interrupting.
Now it's 3 people talking at once, yeah?
Rand, calm down. What I am saying is that there are issues within these institutions.
Which institutions?
Sociology.
What? Wait. Yeah, you mean Sociology Incorporated? What the fuck do you mean? What institutions?
Sociology departments and universities. Come on, you can't be...
Oh, so the thousands
Holy
of different
shit,
institutions rather than the single one you just said?
The tactile density is...
No, you can't. No, you're just saying, like, the sociology group has problem. What the fuck are you saying?
Oh my god, I'm talking about a group? I am making a generalization.
What group? Yeah, I know you're making a generalization. So what groups?
Yeah, fuck, dude, you talk... Every sort of conversation you will ever have in your life makes generalizations.
Yeah, usually the generalization isn't when the sociologists do bad. What institutions?
Dude, like,
if only you brought some data, maybe a handwritten note or something to remind you.
Seriously, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was going to talk to Fake Destiny today. I was just bringing up the fact that you have issues within these institutions, and when you take
Which institutions?
different fields of study, such as
he doesn't know. He lacks critical info.
All of a sudden,
I can send you the fucking data on this later. I do not have it right in front of me. I did not know I was going to talk to Fake Destiny.
I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint you.
The whole thing is you get different fucking outcomes based on different studies with different methodologies on the same fucking exact.
Which study?
Dude, you just said,
look how upset he gets when he actually gets the pushback.
Yeah,
which studies on gun suicides? There are literally dozens or hundreds of studies on gun suicides.
No shit, which is why I'm saying that you get massively different outcomes based on who performs them. So saying that like
No way.
sociology,
What are
or the
meta-analyses
data you
for?
get is overwhelmingly, it can overwhelmingly point in one direction, sure, but the actual way in which you aggregate your data and the way that these studies are formulated wildly
Your
affects
education
the
is
way
really not helping you make a cogent point right now. All you're saying right now is
Look
like
at this slippery
they
eel.
do think things
Try and
different,
fucking
and
rip
the
your head
studies
You're
are
not
different. The
arguing with my
outcome from the
fucking point.
economists.
So
Dude,
Voosh, I do have a question. In
It's
the Destiny
Vash,
circles,
actually.
well, whatever. Does talking over people actually
Vash the
consider
fag Pete.
a
You're
good
right. I
argument
forgot
in
this
the
is a no talking over other people's stream. You're right.
Well,
I
you were
apologize.
bitching about it
wait a minute, hold on.
so
wait,
are you
how's
just
it
admitting
Vash
that
when
you're a
there's
hypocrite?
Wait, how's it Vash when there's a U in there? That's what I wanted to ask.
It's actually Vex.
Vix.
Vix.
Vapor rub?
It's actually a fun little game. We can go the rest of the stream and call me a different pronunciation every time.
All right, we're just gonna call you faggot from now on. Continue.
Well, I mean, if Tool Hip wants to compile his specific example and maybe come back later at a later time, would
Yeah.
you be up for that, guys?
Yeah, I'm down. Thank
Yeah.
you, 2Hip, for calling in, man. Just keep
Yeah.
in touch.
I'd love to hear about the institution.
Oh, don't drop him now. He was just getting him good and mad.
Well, we have to take. There's like 15,000.
Yeah, there's other callers.
We can bring him back in if he wants to come on towards the end. What I was going to ask you is, you said you were pansexual. What does that mean exactly?
Oh, I mean, in practical terms, it basically just means bisexual. But
It means that
men,
most
women,
people
and
are
everything
interested
between.
in sex.
So it's just
panning.
a fancy word for bisexuality. is what
I
you-
think it's more etymologically correct. But yeah, basically, it's the fancy word for bisexual.
All right, let's take some calls.
How often have you been panned for sex?
Onion Wizard,
know
you're
what
on the
that
air. Go
means.
ahead, go.
Donald Trump is an alt-right bigot.
Thank you.
Okay, Onion Wizard.
My viewers
Tiger
slipping
Bomb.
in. Guys, calm down.
Tiger Bomb, that was actually one of our viewers.
That's
believe it or
our
not.
regular.
Tiger Bomb,
Okay.
go ahead. You're on the air.
Oh, hey, good evening. I was
evening.
wondering, you said chromosomes don't determine your gender.
Right.
They do, though.
Got him. Holy shit! I hadn't considered that.
Well, she pretty much does have.
Did you really
I mean,
wait in
like,
line for that one?
Fighting against chromosomes is a
Chromosomes.
retarded position.
There's 23 sets of chromosomes, and one set determines whether you're male or female.
Wait, well, 23 for me. I don't know about you. No, that's. I mean, you can. I mean, I like
Well,
your.
we know your tribe runs
Wait.
23 and me.
And
Ooh.
I know you're enjoying like.
Autosomes.
Oh wait, you're still talking. Okay, no, continue. Can you please speak up?
22 are autosomes, and one chromosome determines your sex,
Okay.
whether you're male or.
All right. Cool argument. Again, this is pretty much settled science.
It's
I don't
not
know
an
why I
argument,
have to.
fact.
I don't know why I have to argue this every time I talk with
Fact.
reactionaries. This has been scientific consensus for decades. Okay. This
Well,
is.
you have to answer
What?
it because you say
Wait,
chromosomes
which
don't matter.
which
Try and be
question?
creep on biological women.
Wait, what question? She just came on and said things that are factually
she left.
incorrect.
She
Okay.
left.
Oh, that was cool. I had fun.
Well, wait, hold up. I do have a question on that regard. Do they consider the people that fall outside of this binary as genetic abnormalities?
There's
or
no
what-
such thing
what do they
in
consider it?
terms of statistical interpretation. There's no such thing as a genetic abnormality. There are only what things
There are. Well, hold up.
Wait, everyone is the product of mutations.
Well,
that's
no,
how.
no,
Wait, that's how it works.
Yeah, but like
I
drastic
think some of us might be
mutations.
more the product of mutation than others.
Right. So again, I understand the feelings of disgust. It's common with children encounter
No,
something they don't
the
understand.
feelings
but this
of
is a scientific
the feelings of disgust
consensus.
is that you would actually assert that the person not being able to articulate their argument is because they have some sort of chromosomal disease like Down syndrome. That's the disgust. My question is,
Oh, I'm
are
sorry.
you
Is
trying
this
to
a
assert that
decorum
there's- Wait,
stream?
No. Hey, let
I'll
me
try not to
finish,
offend your
fatty.
sensibilities
Let me
next
finish,
time.
fatty.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah, I
He's
know.
bringing it up to the 8th grade arguments now.
I'm making it up
Yoinks.
to the fact that generally you guys aren't really big into the body self-improvement thing because you think, oh, well, having, any sort of standards in terms of body or health-wise is a societal
Ethan
construct.
Ralph is here. Okay, you probably don't want to go down this road. I don't know what you look
Oh,
like.
wait a
I
minute.
annoy the shit out of Ralph and his fat ass who get to the gym too.
No, wait a minute. Wait, why are you throwing me into this?
Hey, listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with being fat. Okay.
But really, does asserting that people not being able to articulate their arguments because they have some sort of chromosomal disorder Like, does that fly in your circles? I'm not sure.
In
if you
my
can make
circles,
that.
yeah, I'm pretty fucking edgy as leftists go. You're not
Okay,
gonna like.
fair
What are you gonna
enough.
do? Get my viewers to revolt against me?
No, I don't fucking care.
Wait, give me.
Jeez,
Wait,
it's
wait.
not about-
Give me.
I
Give
don't
me.
fucking care about your viewers.
Give me
dude.
20
I
seconds.
couldn't
I just
chop
want more
down
water.
a fucking
Just 20 seconds.
grass
All right.
with your fucking
Okay.
edge, faggot.
Well, your viewers are a bunch of tranny faggot furries anyway, so I don't expect they'll revolt. All right, now let me read these. Mariner, I already read that. Flandre Scarlet says saying bimodal distribution like it means anything useful to society. W/R/T sex. Technically, a coin flip is a bimodal distribution too. Coins have edges after all. I think we both know the third possible option. Edge landing doesn't matter. You disingenuous human dandelion.
All right, I'm back.
Oh, they called you a dandelion. Oof.
Oh, all right, I'm back.
All right, let's take some callers real quick. Well, assuming maybe it'll be quick.
Dirty D's. Get Dirty
yeah,
D's.
Okay, let's try them again. Dirty D, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen? Can you hear me this time?
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
You sound beautiful.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm just curious for Vouch, what he thinks about tribalism as a natural human phenomenon.
Yeah, I mean, it's unquestionably a thing that exists, but there are lots of natural impulses that we, as a part of living in a civilized society, have to put down. Like the urge to bash someone's head in when we're really frustrated with them. That used to be a thing we just fucking do. But no.
Wait, you literally advocate violence to support the left?
Not to just anyone I disagree with.
That was the first thing you said when you came on.
Yeah, not to just anyone I disagree. Whoa. Are
Okay,
listening
not just
skills
anyone.
up on the
Okay.
table here?
Watch now that he's been found out, watch him shrink
Wait,
back.
found out?
Uh,
Wait, found out for what?
Va-
Can I answer the question, or is he going to
He's-
jump in again?
That's just he's talking about. It's a quote from Goebbels. But what I was gonna say to you, Vouch, is that it's really just as a pro tip, it's a really bad look to advocate for political violence online. It makes you look like a federal agent.
Okay.
That's yeah. So that's just a piece of advice. It's gonna make. I mean, it won't turn everybody off, but it's gonna turn a lot of people off
All right.
because
I mean, I'm doing
either one,
really,
they're
really
against it.
well, so I'm fine. But
I'm
I
not-
appreciate the advice.
I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. That's my 2 cents. Excuse me.
No problem.
But
Hey,
the
wait,
other
can I respond to the question?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I agree tribalism is a thing, and sometimes it's even useful and helpful. Like during wartime, for example. I mean, it's hard to kill another human being. You have to kind of get amped up a little bit.
Yeah,
But
when you gotta put down the petulant goyim for Greater Israel. That's when it's time
Am I
to stoke
pro-Israel
those
now? Okay.
primal tendencies.
however,
All right, go ahead.
tribalism, like a lot of things, are sort of reptilian remnants of a part of our brain that aren't really helpful in modern society. At least not as helpful as they used to be. So I agree
So
tribalism's a thing, but we can
I
overcome
disagree. Modern society could be a whole lot more hygienic if we were a little bit more proactive in what disgusts us.
I appreciate
Well,
your input. Very good.
Well, my follow-up question for that though is, how is it exactly you plan to put an end to tribalism, seeing as how you do recognize it as a natural phenomenon within human beings?
Again, there are a lot. Rape is a fairly natural component of day-to-day life in like pre-modern human society. I don't have a plan.
Says the guy who's
Yeah, do you have a?
I don't have a plan to put an end to it. Like I don't. Why does everything I disagree with I have to have like a master
Well,
plan?
you
Well, I mean,
definitely
that
don't
was
have a plan to put an end to your
You said
specific
you
kind
wanted
of
to
creepy
stomp out white
young old women.
nationalism.
I can't hear you over this
nationalism
fucking
is
guy.
a form of tribalism.
Not necessarily. Let's not be reductive. White nationalism is a whole lot more going on than tribalism. I agree it's based in it, but there's more to it than that.
I mean, on
There's a
the
set of
surface, it's
economic
just white
principles and
people-
historical. Well, no, there's a
no,
whole.
No. Now you're talking about things like National Socialism, fascism. White nationalism is not a grand concept. It's simply the white people embracing their own and looking out for their own interests.
Okay. Not
there's
really.
all
no.
kinds of directions that can go.
Wait. So wait.
all
Would
kinds of
you say that Hitler and Nazi Germany were white nationalists?
Not exactly. It depends on your definition. They killed a lot of Slavs. They saw Slavs as subhuman. They saw Mediterraneans as subhuman. And most people nowadays would consider them to be white. They're held up
Yeah,
to
because whiteness is a
So-
social construct that we adjust with time. I
No,
agree.
it's not.
You literally. No, you're right. No, you're right. You're very
No,
smart,
that's
dude.
not
You got
what
it.
That's not what I said. You asked if I said Hitler, if I thought Hitler was a white nationalist.
And then you said
I
they didn't
no.
consider them white. You know who else didn't consider Slavs white back then? Everyone.
You realize there were N words in the SS,
Dude,
right?
you can just say niggers.
Whew. Wow,
Oh,
that's a little bit hot
God.
for me.
Oh,
but-
God. Oh, oi, mate. He said the word. Oh, God.
I got him. I broke his brain. Not for real though.
Right.
Tribalism
Dirty D, thank
tribalism
you for calling
refers
in, by the way, man.
pretty
Appreciate it.
specifically
No
to
problem,
like
thanks.
an instinctual behavior. But white nationalism has a whole bunch of like social and historical connotation that I'd love to break down, but you probably know more about it than me.
All right.
well, I mean-
let me read these. Zach Funk says, "How do you enforce laws or things like open borders without any authority of any kind?"
Because there are still authorities. Anarchists are anti-state, but they're not anti-government. There's a pretty fine distinction between the two. But I'm an anarcho-syndicalist, for example.
It does seem like a fine distinction. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's a very fine distinction. I agree, and it took me a while to appreciate the distinction. But again, these things are we're talking about political economy. I mean, this is about as complicated.
It took
as
me a
human
long
society
time to build this
gets.
castle in the sky that has no practical use.
Okay, so the basic principle would be, at least in my system conceptually, that worker syndicates corroborate, and liquid democracy runs, like people choose delegates that then they elect to represent the interests of the syndicate from which they were
Liquid
elected.
democracy.
And then it's a term. You can Google it.
Does it run off cummies?
I mean, you can Google it. I didn't invent it. It's a term that's been around for a while. Anyway,
No, I don't
the
think
idea would be that
you
law
ever have or ever
fundamentally
will
is
invent
enforced.
anything in your life. I think you just sort of trash.
You're adding a
that
lot
picks
to
up-
this conversation,
picks up
and
on-
I'm very proud of you for
Picks up
trying.
on stuff that other people have done. You really are.
You're
low
right. The
tier, buddy.
biggest brain people just invent their own political philosophies with no prior reading. You're right. Thank you. I'll strive for it next time. Whatever the case
Yeah,
is,
I
laws
can't wait for
laws
you
would
to
be
be held
enforced
up
through
to
that governance.
Aristotle as an intellectual giant.
Well, I couldn't engage with Aristotle because if I did so, any values I might derive from speaking with him would be indicative that I'm not a big brain enough to like go out and make my own political economy philosophy.
Wow, you can't
say
actually say
everything-
a sentence without coming
You
off
are
as
you
a
do
bitch.
I just you do
Gentlemen.
realize I don't know how this runs off with your fan base. You just come off as like perpetually triggered talking to me. You're like upset and you don't have any good zingers, so you just talk and talk and talk.
No, he's just Australian.
We've already had the conversation about how you can't appreciate my good singers
All right,
because you're a leftist faggot.
Let's read these. Kevin Duggan says, "Yeah, let's try something that doesn't work." Ronson says, "What's the Discord link?" Flamenco put that out a couple times, I believe.
Yeah, I'll put it out
Maybe
again.
he can throw it out again. Distal Bitch Slap says, "My old lady is asleep. Can I take it?" If by it you mean anything other than the pussy, yeah, probably. Go ahead, as long as it's not illegal. David Knight says, "What's a degree matter in an anarchist society?" That's fair. What does a degree matter in an anarchist society?
It still does. Do people think anarchic societies just mean like everything's on fire? I don't understand. I used to think that
That's
though.
pretty much
so
that's pretty much how it would work. But you know, this is how anarchy would work. All right.
Okay.
We're all anarchists now. Okay. Hey, Ralph. Hey, Flamenco. You want to band together? Yeah. All right. Cool. We're a group now. Let's go start
this is
taking
literally
over other
like my
people's fucking
9th grade
farms.
freshman year of high school like breakdown of why I was a libertarian.
Oh, really? So the concept of pure anarchy.
You're working really hard, but soon
you're still
you'll
sticking
get
to it.
something. You've done it, dude. You've found the defeater, the defeater for the Christian God. Except in this case, it's anarchy.
Anarchy will never work, and you're a fucking
You
retard.
got it.
for thinking
Wow.
it will.
All right. All right, let me
Kropotkin destroyed.
Let Ralph finish.
Let me read these. Digital Bitch Slap says, "We paid good shekels for you to answer the super chats and my questions." Well, I'm reading them. I'm trying to read them out. It's been a little difficult this evening. King Stylo says, This is the type. Low T sycophants surrounding Destiny. How are you less funny than the smooth brain, manlet, nihilist, genuine article?"
I wonder if the people in your chat know what being a sycophant means.
You'd have to.
Judging from the comments, at
that's-
least half of them don't.
That's not a gotcha or anything. I'm just genuinely curious if they know the meaning of the word.
Are you a sycophant to Destiny?
To like when I'm talking to Destiny?
You had your nose pressed right up to his brown starfish, up until you got caught creeping on women, and now you've suddenly
did he?
decided.
So wait. Let
to
me
be
ask you: Did you
independent.
have some type of falling out with Destiny? I don't know the history on it. Honestly.
Oh yeah. Well, I
It
was.
seems like vaguely somebody told me you did, but I don't really.
Yeah, kind of. Destiny was the one who outed all of the logs that made this like a whole public thing. It had been resolved privately
Yeah,
before.
Destiny
but it was
outed you as a creeper,
Oh, so
and then you
Destiny-
suddenly
I can't- I
decided
know-
to be independent.
The story is
Ran.
actually interesting, but I need to be able to
Go
speak
ahead.
to
Let
it.
him get it out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the gist of it is Destiny was the one who aired those logs, and I feel like he did it in a very irresponsible way, and he said a lot of things that were untrue. So I'm upset with him over that. But as long as he keeps doing good work, I'm not going to, like, tell people not
Now,
to.
why do you
I'm
think
very
he did
upset
that?
that he
Wait,
exposed me as a
wait, hold on.
creeper.
I want to take this. I want to ask these questions. Why do you think
All
he
right.
did that?
I'm sorry?
Why do you think he did that to you?
Oh, I don't know. It could be him genuinely and sincerely feeling that I was. He actually can't help himself. He may have sincerely felt I was like a bad person who needed to be removed from the community, or maybe he personally disliked me, or maybe he's always had a grudge against leftists, like genuine leftists. So maybe he wanted to like get me out.
Oh,
as,
you're
like,
saying he's kind of a centrist poser type, or
No. I think he's like a social democrat or like a neolib. Like he's like a left-leaning capitalist, and he does good work. But I'm not a capitalist.
okay. Well, he pretty much says that, I think. All right, let's read the.
Do you think, well, real quick, do you think there was a monetary incentive to do it?
Well, everything that he does is with a monetary incentive. He said that. He chooses who to associate with and what to do based on what he thinks will maximize his exposure and wealth. He is very much a capitalist, but I can't fault him for staying true to his principles.
No, he didn't kick you. He didn't kick you for being a creeper.
Okay. Did you talk with him?
All right, let's.
No, that's the way you justify it to yourself. He didn't kick me because I'm a creeping piece of shit.
That was the first possibility.
He kicked me because I'm just too politically edgy for him.
No,
he's too mainstream for
he's
me.
Edgier than me.
The fact
do
that
you know what edgy means? He's edgier than I am.
Nothing to do with it.
All right, let Ralph finish.
Now let me. First Amendment in the regular chat says talk about tanky, Ralph. What does that mean?
I'm definitely
Oh,
not
tanky. That's pretty
Isn't
close.
that the-
Aren't those the guys that like fetishize the Soviet Union?
Tankies are authoritarian
No,
leftists who.
tankies-
No, please let
yeah.
us know.
They're
Please, no. I want to hear your take.
God damn.
Rand,
Just
calm
let
down.
him, let him go. Go ahead.
All right, let's let
Let him
the
go and you can
pussy
respond.
creeper
Calm
describe
down,
that
please.
tankies.
I've spent about
Go ahead.
I spend about half my time arguing with tankies these days. So tankies are authoritarian leftists who have a tendency to justify or downplay the atrocities committed by, say, Stalin or Mao or Ho Chi Minh or what have you. The term was coined back in the
And they don't downplay your atrocities. I bet that's the bit that
back
upsets
in
you
the
the most.
back in the late 50s when the Soviet Union sent tanks into Georgia and the left and the West was split as to whether or not to justify the action as Russia quelling dissidents against the communist ideal or whether they were just being imperialist shitheads. So tankies are used to refer to people who defend actions like that. I'm not a tanky. I'm very critical of the Soviet Union.
Okay. By the way, that was a First Amendment referencing a super chat by Oscar Yeager. Question for the butt goy. What's your thought on tankies? I think we got your thought.
Yeah, you go. Got 'em.
Ariel Fernandez.
I know exactly why you're very critical of Stalinist Russia.
Why is that?
Because it was socialism in one country. It wasn't mixing all the races together into that beautiful shade of brown.
You're reaching
that you and
so
your fellow Jews
far.
would like to
Holy
do.
shit.
I'm
And
not
I would
reaching at all. It is a historical fact that once Stalin took power, the international communists who just happened to have names like Verblackstein and Goldberg
always brings it
and,
back.
and Shekel
I
Grabber.
can't listen. I don't know how to.
Silver
Yeah,
Eater
shekel grabber.
couldn't-
Yes,
they
I like.
couldn't
It's
stop
cool. I'm
shitting.
glad that
They
the
couldn't
guy is
stop
really.
shitting on the Soviet Union post the Second World War. Once Stalin took power, because Stalin took power, and when he took power, what he wanted after the Second World War, what he did was to try and build up Russia
You're getting it,
without
dude.
going along with the Goy feed fucking
You're getting
program
it.
that
You
you
got
guys
it.
wanted him to
History
do.
nailed.
which
I
was to
just have to say
lure
really,
everyone
just
into
really,
this brown
really
blob
quickly,
for the Jews to
really
control.
quickly
You
as a
guys
point.
turned. You guys turned on a dime on the USSR. You
Does
turned
he-
on a
does he
fucking
do
dime
this?
on them.
Does he do this
Rand.
every? Is it the same rant every stream? I've
Only
like
with a lot of
barely
liquor.
said anything
Okay.
about Judaism, but he's really into it. I'd get bored
Alright,
listening
let
to
me-
it every time.
Only with a little bit of liquor.
Is this like a
All right,
safe
let
space
me-
thing? Like your viewers need to hear this once a day, or they forget that their entire lives are being
Now, let me
controlled by an
read
elite
these.
Jewish
Let me
cabal?
read these. Kevin Vance says.
Now that whole thing.
Rand,
like,
wait a minute,
I need to have the
no,
ear.
I'm
I
muting,
need
I'm
to have
muting it.
Jewish
I'm muting
poison
it.
poured
You guys
into
can
my
still hear,
ear
but
every day.
Kevin Vance says, "Who in the background said they're losing it? I don't know. It's probably me." Sarah Dragon
That's my
says, "This dude."
girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, I know the feeling. Sarah Dragon says, "This dude sounds like if Destiny took testosterone."
Hey.
Well, that's kind of a compliment. JJ Hemingway says, "This guy
Thank you.
turns into Destiny when he gets owned." That was not a compliment.
No.
I don't think.
Wait,
Ariel
wait,
Fernandez-
really quickly. Why are your viewers so hung up on Destiny?
Most people in right-wing circles generally don't like him because he seems to come off as a disingenuous cunt.
Is he like the specter that haunts you guys? Like whenever you get mad, you're like, oh, it's like when Destiny.
No,
he's
like our Ben Shapiro.
Let me read these.
You
so
can understand that.
Let me read these. So I can
Destiny's
unmute
pretty honest when he argues.
All right, hold on. Let me
You can understand it.
Metalhead Martyr says, you promote the anarchist society. Do you recognize that such societies tend to collapse soon after they're established, either to outside forces or within? Anarchism seems to have no teeth in it.
Does this person think I'm not aware of the fact that there are no currently like functioning like anarchy state? Like, well, yeah, obviously. Now I could go into like a really long detailed convo about how I think that there are ideas salvageable from past failures, and how just because we failed on something once doesn't mean we can't give it another go, and how conditions vary materially. But I mean, no one really wants to listen to that. We just want to like get me. So yeah.
All right. By the way,
I can think of nothing less.
Slow it
appealing
down.
than
They've got
getting into a
super
long
chats to get to, but you've
conversation
got a
with
really witty one-liner to drop.
Well, you're a nigger. I mean, sorry, I meant to say faggot.
Really just a really witty one-liner. He's got him. Super chats better wait up.
Them Echo says agent anarchist FBI. Wasatch Man says government and state are literally synonyms. Ariel Fernandez says, is the Australian guy off his meds? Synac 8 says, what the hell is this? Since the science test, that is no way. Wait, what the hell is this? Since the science test, that is no way politically to push our agenda. I'm right and you can't prove me wrong. Go practice Jap culture and take a trip to the Sunset Forest, we'll call it that. Oscar Yeager says, I already read that one. Earju says, Randbot sounds like a wenge naturally. Aha. He's
real quick,
I have been to Tokyo.
I
it was
have
actually
my
a
own
beautiful city.
It looks
real quick. I have my own super chat that somebody sent me on my stream earlier today. Iron Nation asks,
Iron
Fauci
Nation.
if
I know that guy.
He still thinks owning a T-shirt made overseas is morally equivalent to owning child pornography, like he said on a live stream last week.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of the one's complicitness in I'm sorry, is there a kid in the background?
It's the Zergling.
Yeah, Rand's progeny is vying for attention.
I don't suppose it'd be too much to ask that he mute for a moment, would it? No. Yeah. So,
go ahead.
Yeah, no. Principally speaking, yeah. So when we buy clothing that was manufactured using slave labor, we're using our money to prop up an institution that forages slavery. And when we purchase child pornography, we are giving money to an industry that facilitates child rape. The difference between these two things, fundamentally, there are two actually. One, it's way easier to not go out there and buy child porn than it is to go not buy anything made in slave labor. Huge difference in terms of like the ease with which you can avoid those things. And secondly, our government has arbitrarily decided that one of these things is terrible and one of them is not. The reason for this is because capitalism relies upon slave labor, but capitalism doesn't really rely on child pornography. So that's my
to be fair,
hot
though,
take
the other reason why generally the international community takes such a hard stance against child pornography in particular is that it leads to, I'd say it's arguably more vile than exploitative labor. Like exploitative labor is shit, but in terms of overall lasting psychological damage, I'd say that child molestation, exploitation sexually is way more detrimental.
All right, let me read these.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Radio Ruin says, every time someone asks for a real take, this guy deflects about how it would take too long to answer. Just speak your piece, coward. Ariel Fernandez says, it wouldn't surprise me if Rand is the leftist secretly pretending to be a right winger in order to make the right wing look bad.
Can I answer that one?
Wait, you can. Just wait. Otaku King says Rand talks more on the Ralph Retort than he does on his own show. Deep Fried Lettuce says Rand is better at beating on low verbal IQ types like Paused, and he doesn't match up with this guy. His previous content has a style that is very similar to Skeptics. This guy's probably trying to use the Killstream as his people to beat on, kind of like how Sargon tried to use Kevin Logan.
Wait, what's the right reason for me to appear on here? Is there like a good reason?
I don't know.
Fun.
I am having fun, believe it or not.
All right. Go ahead, Rand. You wanted to answer that. Are you secretly a leftist?
Oh, first of all, there is something about the submissive personality that they do enjoy being humiliated. So I believe him. for the first time in this entire conversation, I believe him.
You know,
When he says that
an
he's
important
enjoying it.
part of being a submissive is that they have to feel humiliated, and I gotta say right now, I'm feeling pretty okay. But I appreciate your concern for my mental well-being.
No, that's cool. Just keep lying. Anyway, as I was saying,
but wait, how are you so familiar with what it requires though?
What? Because I'm
No,
familiar with kink dynamics and I have a FetLife account? What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, I'm out there. I'm out there on the weekends. You know how I be.
No thanks.
But anyway, no, I'm not a secret left winger. I'm just as awful as you imagine me to be in how I think and act. And the other thing is, we are absolutely stacked up with callers. So for the facilitation of pleasing the audience, I think
let's
we
try
should
to take
start
some so
rolling
we can
calls,
maybe.
and
There's no
I
way
will,
we're
I
gonna get through
will
them
try
all,
and
but
keep my
let's try.
comments down to
We
a
still
minimum.
got Sargon. I don't even know if that's gonna happen now.
I think that might be tomorrow.
Ronson, go. Lightning round.
I still got to do the
Muted.
incel thing.
You still got a what?
Oh, the incel. I was just excited. If we can't get
Yeah,
to it,
yeah.
that's totally fine.
Nah, we'll do it. Just go ahead. What about incels? Go ahead.
No, I just want to say, okay, from my experience, I feel like inceldom tends to be a fairly right-leaning movement, and I really, really sincerely, I'm being completely sincere, I really do wish that men, young, like lonely men, understood that the left-leaning people are the only people who can provide them sort of structural solutions. The fact that like young men,
The left wing is the only way. Follow us on the path to leftism. You'll surely get laid that way.
Let him go. Let him speak.
Like
Go
we're
ahead.
looking at some really troubling numbers right now where like male virginity is on the rise, like a lack of companionship and stuff, and like white male suicide. Oh, I didn't know you find the suffering of men so funny. I actually sincerely care.
No. Here's the thing. You do find the disproportionate male suicide thing funny.
Do you
because
know?
you
Wait, can you
seek
deductively
dominance
prove
over all
that?
cultures.
So
You're a fucking kike.
Let him finish.
Yeah, if we could, I could actually. I could
let him finish.
Let him finish his
spiel
point.
first.
Yeah, I could actually get through the point like 3 times as quickly. But
Go ahead,
the
Rand.
gist is fundamentally that the problems with like the male suicide, or white males mostly, the white male suicide rate and the male like virginity rate, or people are waiting later and later and later to have sex, get married, kids are getting less and less, even the birth rate dropping, though that seems to be a product of industrialization more so than it does any sort of racial or gender line. But the point is that we're facing some like real problems that are specifically affecting white men. And I have on my channel, and I'm not shilling my channel right now, I know you fuckers don't care, but
Go ahead.
I
No,
have
it's fine, dude.
well, I talk about this particular thing a lot because I feel like the fact that young white men feel like listless and alienated is a huge social problem. Not just because it tends to lead to things like the rise of the alt-right, but also because I like it when people are happy generally. It's just it's a discussion point I wish people could engage with more often.
And the answer is communism, anarchy, and pussy respecting.
No, those
I
none of those things
do
are
actually have
the
I do actually have a question on that because in right-leaning circles, so far has led for me to work on self-improvement, namely in terms of physical attributes such as going to the gym, losing weight, statistically things that are more likely to help with people finding mates. Which I mean, I already have a girlfriend, so it doesn't really fucking matter. But I mean, we're already Yeah,
you can always.
Yeah, but
my wife might quibble with you there, sir. I'm afraid.
I would say that a lot of these problems are actually caused by the hyper promiscuity nature that is encouraged in our society.
Okay,
Hold up. I let you finish. Let me finish, bud. So I would say that the main reason behind this is because we encourage people to, treat sex as something that's just something that you can throw away, something that you can just do without any consequences. I mean, it's not really a surprise that the rise of drug-resistant STIs are on the rise and various other things. I would honestly say that people really need to take a look and maybe be encouraged to remain celibate until marriage, because I think that generally leads to much more happier relationships and much more stable relationships in the long term.
Yeah, that's sort of like the Jordan Peterson line, and it's cool, and I agree with it. Well, wait. That's not disingenuous. It is. That's a lot of what he pushes. And that's kind of like the right-leaning approach to it, just like, oh yeah, get fit, work out, be more social, but also women are sluts, and the way that women are having sex is causing them to lose their ability to fall in love with men, and that's keeping...
You're projecting a lot of my.
Whoa! I'm not making a moral judgment.
Hold up.
Wait, if you're mad, I'm sorry. If you're mad, if you're upset with what I said, I can rephrase it.
No, I'm trying to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from. I don't think that hyper promiscuity is just a simply women's problem. I think men encourage hyper promiscuity probably even more than women.
Yeah, okay.
Haven't you guys?
I mean, we as a society used to kind of, thought patrol a lot more fucking seriously, and it was partially due to the fact that, generally it was also considered really bad for men to engage in sex out of wedlock. But unfortunately,
the thing is that, and I know we
so.
disagree on this, but I am liberal in the sense that I do believe that people should be able to make free choices as to what they want to do, and I think that on an institutional level, we should try to enable those choices. To the best of our...
you?
Whoa, buddy! I didn't even make the point yet. Come on.
Okay, fine.
So, and generally speaking, our institutions should cater towards people's interests and needs rather than trying to enforce this monolithic idea of how relationships are supposed to work. When I see the disparity between how men and women tend
you've got your wish, buddy.
Wait,
the institutions
hold up.
are trying to break that down. That so-called alleged monolithic focus on monogamous relationships is the culture that the Jewish-controlled government is deliberately trying to break down.
Literal. By the way, this is why I appropriate NPC
Name me one
meme.
instance where the government is actually trying to stop people from turning into Desmondism.
Well, I don't know why I feel have to engage that argument, but they give tax credits to marriage and forbid you from being married to multiple people. So I think that's a pretty strong argument in favor of them. Yeah, this isn't going anywhere. Just keep it going. Hey, listen, incels in the audience, I unironically give a fuck about you, okay? Squad W or whatever.
Wait, what?
Squad W. It's a train wrecks meme because he calls himself the king of the incels, the Twitch streamer.
Pragmatic Culture says being a leftist is fine for the moment, but the arrogant twattery is unbearable. You guys have the patience of saints. David Knight says a degree wouldn't mean anything in an anarchist society because it's awarded by an institution, no institution who's going to recognize its authenticity.
The core thing that pisses me off about faggots like you.
Oh wait, you are mad then?
Is that you? No, I'm always.
Wait,
mad.
You just said you're mad. I'm not mad at all. Does that mean I'm winning in the South Parkian Randy and whoever gets mad most loses sort of sense?
No, you're not winning.
Because you sound really fucking mad to me.
Oh, God,
you are actually really fucking mad. But here's
the
point.
Fascinating.
All
to be fair,
everybody's
Ralph,
enraged. I'm enraged more than all. Let me read these. Sarah Dragon says
the point is that you are an
anarchist. He's so fucking
I'm a
mad.
communist.
He got me. I'm actually an anarchist, not a communist. But okay, he did it. He pegged me. I'm the thing I say I am.
But no, I would.
Hey, dumb nigger, we're not live right now. He just quit the thing.
I would go so far as to say that in general, you need to kind of change the way that people, like I said, look at things, because it's also a statistical thing that in terms of overall marriage stability and various other things is going way down. And
yeah, I think that's a problem.
Isn't there scientific correlation between a person's amount of sexual partners and the ability to successfully pair bond? Well, no. Let me finish, Rand. Isn't there a statistical? Isn't there a statistical correlation between a number of partners a person has sexually with their ability to actually have a cohesive relationship with the person romantically?
The studies that I've seen on this have counted partners that you have after a marriage or relationship towards the total, which factors into the success of the relationship that has already taken place. So I have not seen any studies that accurately portray that data. No, but it wouldn't surprise me. I don't like marriage.
Wait, hold up.
All right, Flamingo, real quick, let's put a pin in it so we can try to get through some of these callers real quick.
Yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead.
Oh, that's right. We did say we were going to roll callers.
Yeah, we're going to have to roll through. Go ahead, Flamingo, real quick.
Please just calm down. No, that's fine. Do the callers.
Okay, all right. Let's roll through the callers. Eon, live on air, lightning round, for real lightning round. Go ahead and go.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask our guest today. He did make mention to a number of sources throughout his arguments today, and I just wanted to ask, for those who wanted further reading, where could we find the sources?
Which argument?
Studies. Just all of them. You covered what the chromosomes, the incel thing.
So
what
you
other
just
topics
so you
do
just
think
want me
of?
to provide like all the studies I mentioned obliquely?
Not right now. Just maybe put them in your
Yeah.
link on
Well,
your stream afterwards.
I don't know if I'll be able to dig them up that quickly, but I can access the big logs that I had from my more well-researched comrades who provided me those studies. Yeah, especially, is there like a specific... I'm going to treat you like a good faith actor, even though I suspect you're not. Is there a specific thing that you're interested in?
Sorry, are you racist against Australia?
Just wait, Rand. Go ahead. Vouch.
No. Is there a specific subject you'd be interested in me culminating more data on? Because I haven't lied about a war.
Stopping the boats.
No, I'm just trying to sort of get an idea where you're coming from. Obviously, you do make mention to these studies, so we just like to look at the data and see, just get a perspective on things. That's all.
Okay. I feel like I'm being accused of not bringing studies to the kill stream when I didn't know what subjects we'd be discussing, but everything I say can be corroborated with data. And you know what? I'll make a video sometime soon where I post all these links, probably with the transgender stuff first, or with the sex binary chromosome stuff. But it'll take me some
And
time
with
to
a puff
compile
of
evidence
smoke,
for
the
other stuff.
ninja disappears.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you, Eon,
you're
for
right. I
calling
didn't
in.
bring sources to my kill stream where I wouldn't know what we're discussing. You're right. You got me.
No, it's fine. Just provide them later. It's fine.
No. I'm happy to.
I think everyone's.
All right, Imperial Guard, lightning round. Go ahead, please.
You're not coming through, by the way, Imperial.
No, he's not.
I had an Imperial Guard army in Warhammer
Is he there
40K.
now?
That actually makes me feel bad because Imperial Guard's my favorite army, and I'm sad that a fag plays it.
Look at that friendship we brought together.
Senator Hitler, go.
Hey, Ralph.
Yo, what's
So
up?
sorry I popped up in the lightning round. I was going to talk about the chromosome stuff.
That's
I'm
fine.
a little bit knowledgeable in that stuff. So basically, he's describing the bimodal distribution. But this statistician, sociologist, or whatever, he forgets that it's about genetics and resultant sex traits in untreated individuals. So I think where the right and left disagree the most is with transgenderism, not intersex, right?
I'm not entirely sure if I understand what point you just made. The fact that sex is a bimodal distribution is a fact. That's actually how bimodal
Naturally
works.
occurring and untreated with hormone sex distribution, sure. Yes. But I think where we disagree is the mutability of an individual's position on that distribution, right? I don't think that you can refer to that distribution if you're then applying hormones, because that distribution only relies on the correlation between chromosomes and genetic material and the resulting phenotypes.
Yeah, but that,
if you're
that
altering
argue...
that, then that's a treatment group.
Wait, but that argues against your point. If people are born into a bimodal distribution and we have to apply like treatment that are socially ordained to make them fit the binary model more, that's an argument in favor of my point that a bimodal distribution is not only a more correct one, it's also one more in line with humans' natural state.
Okay, so I'm familiar with the PopSci research that you're referring to. It was from last year. The media hyped it up, and basically that. And I know you don't want to cite it or whatever, but I know the study you're talking about. I didn't read the actual study, but I familiarized myself with it when it popped up in the media.
Mm-hmm.
But what that was referring to was not, psychological phenotypes of sex. It wasn't anything to do with transgenderism. It is this case that the left always brings up with regards to intersex. Intersex blows up the model, right?
It's not really something the left brings up.
You said intersex we've known about forever, right? And said, it's established fact that the compendium has determined. Yes, we've all known that there are, and I wouldn't even call. I don't.
Can you get to the point?
I don't. My point is, it has nothing to do with what we were obviously trying to ask you about with regards to can someone change, how everyone else refers to them.
No, we have not talked about trans people once this stream. We've talked about the bimodal distribution of sex. At no point have we talked about gender, gender identity, or pronouns.
Okay, so the original caller or whoever asked you was asking about the chromosomes. Mm-hmm. Okay, you turned this into some debate about intersex. When the right brings up chromosomes, what are they usually referring to, dude?
I was originally making the argument that sex is bimodal. If we want to talk about transness or like transgenderism, then that's a whole separate topic.
Naturally occurring sex is, of course, bimodal.
He's shrinking back. Keep it up.
I'm not. I'm actually holding the exact position that I had before. I understand that natural sex is bimodal and gender. Okay.
So,
guys, go ahead real quick. Put a pin on this. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to ask one last question. So, do you think this research should at all inform your opinion, my opinion, on transgenderism?
What research?
The research you cited.
The research I cited about sex being bimodal?
Yes.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with gender identity.
Okay.
I mean, I guess like tangentially in like a social sense, yes, the two are related, but in like an actual medical sense, no. Gender identity is completely separate from one's sex.
All right.
You wait to put the cap on your argument once the caller's left. Yeah, very brave.
Wait, what? Okay, sure.
Let me read this. 113657 says pale males are trash and we don't need that toxicity in the left. Thank you. Bronson says, did you bring me on? I did. It's Hample says, Vouch, you say how do you say you pronounce it again? Go ahead.
Just Vosh. You can have fun with it.
Vosh, okay. Vosh, you say the left is a safe haven for disenfranchised men, yet if we're going to use generalizations, the left is toxic towards masculinity. Cop on.
Yeah, I super disagree. I know this is probably going to trigger some like shrill hyena laughing from Rand over here, but I'm a fairly masculine person, generally speaking, and I have seen no ostracization whatsoever. Toxic masculinity does not mean that masculinity itself is toxic, only that there are some elements of masculinity that hurt men. Like the idea that you shouldn't be able to like cry to express your feelings or whatever, or that you have to be really tough and aggressive.
I'm not gonna hyena laugh at that. I'm just gonna let it hang there in the air.
Okay.
With contempt.
Yeah, so I agree though that the left is sometimes a little bit jumpy when it comes to dudes being like really masculine, and I know that because I've seen it happen to other people. But I do think, and I'm being sincere with this, that as long as you're not like a trash human, the left is generally pretty accommodating of gender expression.
All right, Lubu says, Ralph, I can beat your monkey ass in NBA Jam. I don't think you can beat me in NBA Jam or NBA 2K, to be honest.
Right wing destroyed.
I think we need to settle this soon.
Actually, hey, Ralph, you're completely sober these days, aren't you?
Yes, I am, yes.
Well, wouldn't this be like post show? This would be the perfect time. Yeah. This would be the perfect time.
Well, Ralph wants to get off air and stay off air.
That brutal doom.
No, I don't think tonight would be the good night.
Oh, you walking out? You walking out, buddy?
No, let me read this. L. Ron Humperdinck says, "Isn't bad faith actor Destiny's Line my dude?" I did hear Destiny mention that. So.
That is not a Destiny only thing. That's a well-respected term in like communications. But okay, it is funny, by the way, when I can tell that the only experience these people have had with academia is listening Destiny use terms that he heard from a stream with somebody else, most likely me, because these are very well-respected, broad academic.
I'm not
terms.
aping Destiny's bit when I am leaning to the mic like this. He's doing it to me.
Well, he should have copyrighted it.
Okay,
all right, let me read this. Metalhead Martyr in the super chat says, "You say we can learn from past mistakes, yet my point is anarchists seem to make them over and over again, never learning from them. Either that, or it's just not a tenable idea in the first place."
Well, there are successful anarchy movements like the YPG right now, the Rehova folks that are actually doing really fucking good work, like fighting back ISIS, and they're functional. It would take like external force or like a state power to kind of squash them, which I think will inevitably happen, unfortunately. But there are instances throughout history of semi-stable anarchic governments, and I think as time goes on and life becomes easier.
You're really reaching, buddy.
No, not really.
Yeah, you are really reaching.
As
you
time
found
goes
one
on,
of the quote-unquote moderate rebels there in Syria.
They're not,
and you know that like the Syrians.
Wait, do you have a problem with fighting back against ISIS?
Has already won.
Wait,
it's over.
Wait, what do you have a problem with? Wait, they did a ton of groundwork against ISIS.
The Jews
are you like a pro-ISIS guy? Because they hate the Jews too.
No, we're
wow,
just
you're fucking retarded.
Dealing with it anymore.
Wow, you are fucking retarded.
I don't understand.
I don't understand. I don't even...
Exactly. Let's just fucking clip that.
So,
I don't understand.
So as I was saying,
sums up this entire fucking conversation.
I know we're all sort of like averse to science and like reading and literature and academia here, but there have been examples of fairly stable anarchic governments in the past, and I think that we have a chance at making it happen.
Oh, really? Can you tell us some? Because I don't understand.
Oh, I
don't understand.
Wait, I thought
one.
anarchic.
Well,
I thought
list
anarchic
one,
government was an oxymoron.
No, like I said, an anarchic
government.
state is an oxymoron. Governments can exist within anarchy. Like I said, the difference is subtle. I'm not
No,
making
they
fun of
fucking
it.
Hold on.
I don't
He's really,
understand.
Guys,
he's
wait a
really
minute,
mad.
gentlemen. Let's take some callers.
Yes.
Ronson, go. This is the second time, so you probably won't get brought back. I do apologize. I know you sent a super chat. Ronson, please speak quick. Oh, Ronson, no.
I'd say leave him in the call and take another caller.
Yeah, I guess that'll be the nice.
Give him a chance.
Rabbi Shlomo sounds like he's going to be spicy.
Oh, he's been in there for a while. Yeah, go ahead, Ronson. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been procuring a script here, so.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Saying Shoko Grabber was my favorite communist dictator. I'm a fan of the show, as you know, and a fan of Bausch and his bombastic style, specifically dabbing on John Doyle and his differently abled takes. And the reason I'm here is to ask a very important question to Vaush. Vaush, on the 2001 Warner Brothers movie.
Thank you, Ronson. What's your opinion on that fine film?
What movie?
Disney Pixar Cats and Dogs. I
Oh
think it was Disney.
God, I didn't even hear that. I don't know if he cut out for me or what. Fuck. You know what? I've never watched it. I'm gonna say hit the sleeper hit of 2001. What else came out that year? Fuck that. Fuck those movies.
Wasn't it a Disney Pixar?
Oh, some other things. I think it was like really. Some things really hit the floor in 2001. There were some other significant things that really crashed down into the public.
For those of you in
consciousness.
chat too young to know, he's talking about
was Vaush
9/11.
muted because I didn't hear his response.
Yeah, you'll have to go back. He said he didn't.
Listen, it's the sleeper hit of 2001. Okay, it's the best movie to ever come out of that studio, unquestionably. I was like 7 at the time. Listen,
I guess you can sunset me now.
Thank you, Ronson. I appreciate it, man. All right, let's run through at least a couple more.
Rabbi Shlomo wants.
Rabbi Shlomo, go ahead, Rabbi.
Oh, hang on.
Man of the cloth.
I'm going to tell you something wrong about Syria because you're very wrong about the white PG. And I'm going to tell you why. Because lately, so the reason why you keep saying that they defeated ISIS.
I didn't
they
say
really
they defeated
did.
ISIS. I said they
well,
did
you
work against ISIS.
Well, you keep saying that they're doing a good job in defeating ISIS.
Yeah, they did.
But they're not. They're doing a terrible job with what's happening in the Euphrates. They're treating all the Arabs like shit. They're not even rebuilding Raqqa. All the talks with Assad have been going sour because they know that they rely on us for all they do.
For one, I do not think that that they are relying on the United States for their advocacy to the extent that you claim here. And for two, I guess I mean I don't have like a source on hand. Could I get like a link or something? Not now, not to put you on the spot, but like later, because if it's true that they're actually shittier than I thought, and I don't know if that's true, then I'll adjust my views accordingly.
Wait a minute.
Hang on.
Did you mean that? Did you mean that when you said that? The reunited states? Do you acknowledge the Southern Confederacy?
I'm pretty sure I just said United States.
Rand,
if I misspoke, then I apologize.
It sounded like you said reunited
yeah,
states.
you get very excited very easily.
Rand.
Rand, don't play with the verbaling, please.
Is he done?
He's having a lot of fun.
Okay. I can actually give you some links lately because they've been actually protesting in Raqqa to kick out the SDF and the white PG. So I will link you that if you don't believe me.
No, unironically, go for it. My sort of political, like global political affairs understanding is very flawed compared to my domestic sort of knowledge.
Okay, yeah, no, I can. That's fine. I can understand that. I mean, if you don't know much about foreign policy, I can understand.
You, Rabbi. Appreciate it, man.
That is the most civil conversation I've had so far. I feel like I was being made fun of, but that's okay. If I get to learn something new, it will all have been worth it.
I wish I was in Dixie. Right. Hooray!
Rand.
Hooray!
Constantine, quick call. Go ahead.
I'm just telling you, you are wrong about the Kurds. They are a Western imperialist project, and I'm telling you.
Wait, about the what?
The Kurds.
The Kurds?
The Kurds show.
The Kurds?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think I've spoken on them.
The YPG.
Oh yeah, okay, yes. Because they're not. Kurds are an ethnic group. Okay, yes, no, please continue.
Isn't the YPG made up mostly of Kurds?
Yeah, but I can't. Yeah, but so when I talk about like the Black Panther Party, I wouldn't say like the black people. Like it's
Well, it's mostly black people, though, right?
Yes, in the Black Panther Party, it was mostly black people. Constantine, please continue.
I mean, they would be nowhere without the West. They would be nowhere without U.S. support. And you want to look at who's doing the fighting against ISIS. It is the Iranian-backed forces in Syria. It is Hezbollah. It is Assad's forces, the Russians. It is Western propaganda to assume the YPG, look, they control a large swath of Syria, but they got that because of the Western support.
I think, so first of all, what benefit would there be in the United States propagandizing the efficaciousness of a radical anarchic cell in the Middle East? That seems very out of character.
Destabilization of Syria.
Yes,
By
destabilization of Syria.
supporting anarchists? That's not really how we do things here.
Anarchists completely confoobs are later debated about why Israel.
I'm getting like every other word out of you.
They're the only militant force in the region that we can actually arm that would pose a threat to the legitimate regime in Syria.
Yeah, but there are other forces that we could. No. There are. Well, okay. Actually, you know what?
Yes.
Actually, well, hold on.
Look at him try and talk around in circles. Herschel already knows that Syria is the proper clay of Greater Israel.
Vouch, there's a reason why we didn't back anarchist forces during the Cold War, and it's because the other side was.
Well, wait,
Herschel,
whoa. Hold on. Yeah, I agree. It's easier to back fascists and strongmen because they're less likely to turn over to communism. I agree with that. So America has a history of backing anti-anarchist and anti-communist groups. So thank you for speaking to my point.
The U.S. has a tendency to back...
Do I get to respond to the initial point?
Hold up.
Is
I
it
know
cool
that you
if I
think
respond
that
to
was
the
a really
initial
cute
point? Or...
gotcha, but the U.S. has a tendency to back forces that will further the desires of the U.S.
Which are not anarchist groups. Can you?
No, it's the destabilization of Syria. Holy shit! Oh my god!
This reads like a conspiracy theory
The
to
sooner
me.
we can agree on a car park.
Yeah. So, Ralph, this is getting super boring. Do I get to answer the question, or do we get to move on?
Go ahead, answer the question. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm getting super bodied. Can I
So
leave now?
I admit my foreign policy knowledge is a little bit shaky. I don't understand why we're getting this revolt against my very milquetoast statement that the YPG indicates at least something of a successful anarchic regime. But I admit I should do a little bit more research on that subject.
Because they're lionized
All
in
right.
media reports.
Thank you, Constantine, for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
Because they're the best.
Is it dancing around the subject when I just flatly say
pragmatic culture?
that I...
Pragmatic culture. Go ahead. You're calling in.
Hey, all right. So just two quick comments and then I guess a question. One, I think academia is highly overrated. I think personal experience is usually a better metric for all things. And I speak as someone who's kind of dipped toes in both. But yeah, I think there's way too much fart huffing in academia to make it worthwhile in any sense, honestly. Second, I don't know about Syria much other than that it's just a proxy war for a whole bunch of imperialist powers. So, no matter what small force you're backing, you're kind of screwed no matter what. So, like, yeah, maybe backing the Kurds is a U.S. imperialist project, but, backing Assad only makes you backing another imperialist project for a power in a different hemisphere. So it's not like it's a huge amount of difference.
Well, it is because generally speaking, historically, the American government hasn't really supported far left movements because when they seize power, they tend to take actions which are against the imperial interests of. He's really good with the catcalling, but Ralph, I could actually get through this lightning round much faster if I could finish several sentences uninterrupted. So, first of all, typically the American government doesn't want to back these groups because if they ever seize power, they start implementing policies which make it more difficult for American business interests to exploit the region. This happened plenty of times in South America, so this is pretty substantiated.
Oh, I
fact.
wish I was
For two,
the land of cotton. No time's there and
just
not
singing
forgotten.
music.
Look away, look away.
Hold on, Brand.
So,
Hey, Dixieland.
Dude, Rand, even your fucking viewers have been telling you to shut the fuck up. Can we actually continue with the show? The second point that I would like to respond to is that, look, I'm glad
I'll respond to that.
radical empiricism
half
has
the
been
people in
working
the
out
chat
well for
are
you.
your friends, and they're backing you up. The other half are loving it.
Mm-hmm. So
Right, go ahead.
Yeah, pragmatic culture. I'm proud of your like radical empiricism or whatever, but basically everything that the modern world depends on relies on expert opinion. I agree that academia is extremely elitist
that's a lie.
and ostracizing, but I really do not think the solution to this is to toss out the concept of like peer review and academic empiricism.
Well, hold on. Let's if you're going to mention peer review specifically, peer review was just created so the government could create some sort of legitimization for throwing money at the projects they thought would give them the most gain in the long run. It doesn't actually do anything useful.
Wait, you think the American government invented peer review?
They didn't invent the concept, but
you
the
literally
modern
just
system
said they
of peer
invented
review.
it. Okay, then why did whoever invented peer review invent it?
What?
Why did whoever invented peer review invent it then?
Well, you're talking about
because Jews can always self-reference themselves, and in fact, when you actually go and dive into
this is a good lightning round.
Some of the more interesting things they get into, like the shit that's getting pushed. You'll see, like you'll get circular fucking reference. You'll see a whole bunch of nose
fuck is he going on about?
referencing each other, and then saying,
Do you ever get a little bit embarrassed sharing like a podcast slot with this guy?
I don't get.
No. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people in this call.
Oh, of course you are. That's the Jewish tactic. You go
the Jewish tactic is making fun of idiots. You're right. In the Jewish tradition,
aren't you ashamed to have such an anti-Semite on your staff? Oh,
this is like is this every Monday?
Hold on. But just
Go ahead.
the concept of peer review goes back. It's not simply peer review. It's the idea that other academics ought to check each other.
Rand, let the caller. Rand, no. Let the caller.
Okay. It's you know, I understand people wanting to check each other's work and make sure everything is up to scale. I understand that much. But the modern peer review system, at least how it's been implemented in the U.S., was first created so the U.S. money could just justify throwing.
Wait, hold on, wait, really quickly. I need to jump in right now. Hey, Ralph. I will leave the call. He's literally just singing over the people who are being brought on. I know.
I muted him. They can't.
Rand is a little bit too into his cups right now.
Okay, pragmatic culture. Please continue.
Go ahead.
I don't have a problem with the idea of generally academics trying to check each other and make sure everything's up to snuff in some sort of way, which is sort of like the spirit of the law of peer review, so to speak. But the letter of the law and how peer review is implemented, at least in the American way, is really just sort of a system that the government first created in order to try to justify throwing money at projects that they thought would be useful to them. And so again, I don't have an issue with the idea of people trying to check each other's work.
But that's real. Well, hold on. For one, to suggest that because there are problems with peer review, we have to toss out academia as a concept is.
I didn't say that. I didn't say we had to toss out academia as a concept. I'm just saying modern academia today is largely useless. Not that it's never been useful. No.
Well, no. The term largely useless. I'm sorry. Listen, maybe this is the inner libcuck in me, but I actually think there's value inherently in pursuing knowledge and trying to be right about things. The reason why hold on. The reason why peer review is fucked right now isn't because there's anything wrong with it conceptually. It's because that in order for scientists and researchers, in order for researchers to get the funding necessary for them to perform their research, they need to wow the board of grant reviewers. They can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be peer reviewing this other study and determining whether or not it can be replicated in a sound environment." That doesn't tend to get the grants. So peer review isn't wrong right now because of its concept. It's wrong because the way in which we filter money through academia is fundamentally fucked, and it makes it really difficult to get research out unless you're benefiting a corporation. So I bring this back to capitalism.
Not just a corporation, the U.S. government in general. I mean, yes, I agreed with all that, and that's what I was saying. Again,
the share of research
money,
which is being put towards...
That's a polite way of saying that it's completely Jewish.
The share of resources which have been devoted to corporate research are growing like exponentially relative to the amount of government research which is being conducted.
Well, the corporations and the government are in bed to some degree. So
I don't really
it
think that the government is throwing money at researchers who are trying to determine whether Pepsi Cola A or B is a better flavor. I don't really think that it works.
Well, that's
quite
not
like
really what most research is, though, and that's being a little disingenuous.
Well,
But
it's also a little bit
but
disingenuous to
final point.
suggest that just because there's collaboration between corporations and government, that their interests are one and the same.
Go
You're
ahead.
being
And
incredibly
there's a
reductive.
large they largely are, but final
They
question.
do end up.
just-
They do end up being
Go
one
ahead.
and the same. Where the
Okay,
people who run the government are called Silverberg.
Final question. You mentioned
Running
government
corporations are called Silverberg.
Ralph,
you mentioned governments catering towards like the freedom and the free choice of people and stuff.
I would like that.
Okay, why can you give me a quick synopsis of why you think freedom is this ultimate good real quick? Like
I don't think it's
base
I don't think it's an
justification.
ultimate good. I think that it serves a greater good, which is happiness and well-being. That's my ethical system.
Okay.
I want the government to
Okay.
serve. Now there are some instances, by the way, in which total freedom is not beneficial. Letting your kids eat whatever they want every night is not beneficial. That does not help the common good. Letting your kids grow up to be spoiled,
What would
entitled
you
little
know about children?
But buddy, I
How
think
many
I
kids
think
do
I'm
you have?
I think I'm making a point we actually would
How
both
many
agree
children
on right
do you
now.
have?
I have none.
How many kids do you have?
I just answered the question. Did you miss it?
Oh, is it none?
I did say that. Are you okay?
Well, don't fucking lecture me about kids.
I wasn't talking to you.
Fucking
I think I was
lying
actually
piece of
I think
shit.
I was actually about to make a point.
Rand, it's fine. It's
Yeah, I
Alright,
think
let
I was
me-
actually about to make a point we all agree with, which is that there's not much
Go on.
benefit to letting kids grow up to be like spoiled, entitled brats who like their parents will give them orders and the kids will ignore them because they're radically free little tykes. No, freedom isn't always good, but I think it's usually good. Like the freedom to move to another
Okay.
city if this one's making you miserable, that kind of stuff.
Now,
You know?
here's something you won't understand because you've never had
Rand,
children.
buddy.
Yeah, the way you- Here's the thing.
400
You wanna know-
misses.
you wanna
Maybe
know
this
why-
one will be a
You want
hit.
to know why fascism comes so naturally?
Then
The
why did it
actual
wait
way-
until the
The
20th
actual way
century?
you raise children is under a completely authoritarian regime.
Authoritarianism
that.
and fascism aren't the same thing.
Do
Also,
this.
fascism didn't manifest
here,
until the 20th
Put that
century.
down.
I'm gonna press X to doubt on that. There
All right, let
are
me read
aspects
Every
of,
household, every properly run household is naturally fascist.
That's
All right, let me
fascism
read
and
these.
authoritarianism aren't the
Let
same
me read
thing.
these. American Hawker says, "How gay do I have to be to join communism? Do I have to be an up-talking soy boy, or do I have to chop off my peen and post proof on lefty poll?"
I have good news. You don't have to do any of those things. As long as you're, well, a leftist, you'll be accepted.
Eric Harrison says, "How in the hell is the
now.
YPG anarchist? It's the military arm of a Kurdish political party. How wrong can this guy be?" Radio Ruin says, "To
Reductive.
I keep wanting to say Vash to Vash's audience. Anyone that gets away with publicly endorsing political violence is a federal agent. Chapo Trap House didn't get away with it. Vash did. Remember that." Oscar Yeager says, "Rand, you are golden." L. Ron Humperdinck says, "I'm torn between Rand singing and Vash's dancing." Let me refresh. I
I
think.
think I'm pretty,
there's
pretty
those-
firm on my points, but okay.
Hold up.
Imagine
Wait, hold on,
having.
Rand.
Oh, he did it again.
I do actually want to ask that because you probably follow these guys a little bit more. Did those overpaid guys over at Chapo actually Fed post?
I have literally never seen a single episode of Chapo in my life.
I'm wondering if they actually did Fed post.
I don't know what that means either.
They have actually
publicly
Fed posted.
publicly
I've heard it.
advocating for violence being done against somebody.
Is that a Fed?
That-
Oh, okay. Have you
No,
guys come up for a
the
new
Young
word for
Turks
that?
literally violated the
Okay.
Twitch rules.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I just want to point this out, and we're all callers. I just want to say this, and then I might be quiet for a minute or two.
I doubt that.
If your fucking philosophy can't survive replication,
What
if
is he
your
talking
fucking ideology cannot survive like raising children, then it's a
What?
fucking garbage ideology.
What? Okay. Thanks for letting me know. I'll be sure to
What,
tell
you're gonna
anyone I
raise your
meet.
children under anarchy?
I literally just made a point for being stern
You
and authoritarian.
literally
with
don't
your
know what
kids.
you're fucking
Does-
talking
does
about,
he
you dumb
listen?
cunt.
Wait, I'm actually curious. Does he
Rand.
hear what I say, or does he just have this all like in his
I
head?
think Rand's just drunk. I think.
Yeah, because I
You
literally
haven't, you
made
haven't
that
been
point.
married. You've never had a child. You've never seen the birth of your own child,
Okay.
and you got this hot shit
What is this
ideology
boomer
of how to
ranting?
run the world. You don't know what you're fucking talking about?
Okay, I
You-
literally
you
made your
literally
point
have no
earlier that
fucking
you should be
connection.
strict and
You have
authoritarian
no
with
fucking
children.
connection
Am
to
I
the
am I
fucking
unironically getting
continuation of the
fucking
human
boomer
race.
lectured right now?
You are literally.
This is literally the same
I
as
think
the
Brad
I
is
as a
actually
mother
the
Facebook
person
post.
this call.
You are a fat communist, and if that's not a contradiction in terms, what is? You fat pasty.
Rand, okay, all right, Rand.
He, like, again, like, okay, I literally, like, he got triggered by me saying something he
No,
later agreed
Rand's
with.
just drunk.
it's
He's,
okay.
Well,
I
he
wanna-
earlier
like
said
that
he's
now.
angry.
He's like that. He's like that when there's no confrontation. Don't worry.
No, it's
one
okay.
second.
Thank you. I want to thank you for coming on the show. We have more callers, but there's no way I can get through all these callers. It's already been 3 hours, so it usually
I'd
we
say
actually
let it go. I mean, this is
well, I
this has
know
been fire.
what you would say, but I'm not gonna keep on. But thank you for coming on, man. It's been
All right, I'm
actually
back.
went 30 minutes extra, so
All right, well.
hopefully you can come back on again sometime. Rand's days are Mondays usually, so
So
I'll be coming
Tuesday
on
through
another day.
Friday.
you'll be coming on another day. Is that what you said?
Incidentally, is there anybody that you would like to have? Like, is there? Because we do have a lot of contacts with people that you probably want to get into confrontational arguments
Yeah,
with.
that's what I asked. If there's somebody you'd like to debate or
Well,
Yeah,
it depends on whether it's going to be an actual debate or whether this guy, like, it was fun the first 30 minutes or an hour or so, but I'm actually starting to feel bad for, like, the fucking shit talking I'm going to be doing after this.
No, I think it will be a little bit more. I mean, I usually tend to. That's why I didn't interject a lot, even when you guys were going at it, because I kind of just let things go.
Listen,
but,
here's my dream, okay? Here's my dream. Jesse Lee Peterson. He's a hero
Really?
of mine. One day, okay? That's my fucking dream. I love
I don't
him.
know, dude. The rhetorical style didn't really work for Destiny. I
I'll
don't
see
think
what
it's
I
gonna
can
work for
do.
you.
Yeah,
I
no.
know Jesse
Well,
Lee,
it's a good thing I'm not Destiny. then.
Striker. Some other people have been mentioned.
Yeah,
Who
we've got.
else?
I think people said Mike Enoch.
Yeah, people like that.
Is there any of those people that you would like to engage in a debate on here, or
Listen, we'll keep in contact. I mean, there's no real debate between, like, your people and me. There's just
Well, it's just talking
discussing
shit
and
back
power.
and forth, basically.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, we get it. You big
Nothing wrong with that, though.
small
Right?
brain. It's-
Well,
it's cute.
there's nothing wrong with the process. I mean, really, like, fundamentally, it boils down to the same thing. You know you're never going to convince me, and I know I'm never going to convince you, so we're fighting over audience members. And I've got my chat, and you've got yours. And it's fun sometimes. I think Jesse Lee Peterson would be fun, because we all know he's, like, 30 IQ, so I think I would just try and, like, reach him at his level. But beyond that, I don't really have any people in mind.
JLP,
Yeah,
I
again,
see
I don't
chat
think
seems
it's
to be
gonna
big on
make-
Striker. Striker hasn't been on this show in a long time, actually. That might
Striker
be-
would be really interesting.
I'm not familiar enough with their content to know.
Okay, I'll see if I can.
But we can make it work.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get something. Summer's coming up. We need some events for the summer. Cree says, "Do you miss the Dan as much as I do tonight, Ethan? I always miss the Dan." Outrun Humperdinck says, "Authoritarians enforced through force equals fascist." Let me check the stream jar. I believe we're caught up. Thank you, Mad. I really do appreciate you coming on, though, for real. No joke. A lot of leftists don't want to come on the show. You, Destiny, we mentioned him as well. He's been on a few others, but there's only a handful, maybe a little bit more that'll actually come on the show.
Put me up against Destiny, okay? No,
I mean, Destiny might actually be up for that.
I don't know.
He was up for
that would be good,
I
actually.
don't know.
But I tried for like literal years to fucking red pill him, but I could never do it. He's slippery. But someday I'll get him.
All right, thank you. I want to say Vouch, but it's Vash.
It's
Thank
what?
you, Vash.
It's all interpretations equally valid. Do you mind if I give a 20-second piece out to your audience?
I don't mind. Go ahead.
Delightful. Thank you very much. All right, listen up, you motherfuckers. I know I'm a little slippery snake, soft-ass soy boy, okay? But some of you have some legit issues. Not like mental issues or whatever. I mean, like, you struggle with real systemic issues in your day-to-day life, okay? And believe it or not, I care about that shit, all right? I really, genuinely do. So hopefully, maybe someday in the future, you'll see of your own volition whether there's any validity to the solutions that I and people who agree with me might pose. But until then, I hope all you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Was that really the end?
Yeah. Look at that. They said I couldn't keep my calm. They said it.
You keep.
Yeah, what's up?
You keep overestimating them. No matter what, you keep overestimating them. This was probably like the biggest Nazi podcast, right?
Yeah, I
understand
think
this
it
correct?
is. Yeah.
They offered you nothing.
And
Even without Rand there, they wouldn't have been able to say anything. I don't know. It was infuriating.
All right, nah, that was a good ass time. Listen,
Oh my God.
listen. Oh shit, I'm getting money. Oh shit.
Oh yeah, it's time for the money. Oh shit.
Money, money, money. Ah, fuck. Okay, I gotta go through this. Listen up, my friends. I'm about to go look at some donations. Before I do, I have to give off close to this, okay? So that I can make the video clean when I upload this to YouTube. Listen up. That was some fun shit right there. Listen. That was some serious smooth brain shit. God damn, what was that guy's name? Rand? Man. Fuck, I feel like I could, because I've watched, like, Fuentes. Like, Fuentes is another Nazi, and Rand's obviously a Nazi. He couldn't stop bringing up the Jews, you know? But, like, Fuentes is, like, funny? And that guy was just, like...
None of them were funny.
Really not. Yeah, but Rand was in a whole level of his own.
The other ones weren't trying to make jokes.
Yeah. Because, well, it's the trifecta. Because Rand is, like, I think he's actually insane.
Well, apparently he's a drunk. Like, he's been drunk and people are saying that he's an alcoholic.
Well, Ethan Ralph is also an alcoholic, so it apparently runs in the circle. But that's the trifecta. Rand is like the fucking loony, and Flamenco is like bitter and snide, but also a fucking idiot. And Ethan Ralph generally doesn't engage with the actual, like, debate. Okay, I've got so many fucking donations to read, but before I get to that, let me just say, I had a good-ass time. You folks thought I couldn't keep my cool, huh? But listen, and I really want you guys to consider this. Would that have gone better if I had gone off on them? It wouldn't. The answer is it wouldn't have. I can't out-talk 3 people.